bite off a kneecap, how would it look?
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Welcome, everyone. You're tuning in to the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Happy Thursday, you guys. We're almost to the end of the week, and it's an extra special Thursday because someone in our audio booth right now, it's their birthday. So happy birthday to Stick.
Ooh.
Woo!
Happy
Old
birthday,
man. All right, but good morning, Jeff and Adam. Our first topic. I know Adam doesn't think we're cursed, but after I looked at this list of our last 8 first-round picks, oh my gosh, I'm not convinced that we aren't cursed anymore. So let me get this up for you guys. Our last first 8 round picks for the Lions, Penei Sewell, obviously, our most recent, is hurt. Jeff Okuda on IR. TJ Hawkinson, hurt. Frank Ragnow, IR. Jared Davis, walked in. Yep. Taylor Decker, IR. Laken Tomlinson, traded, and Eric Ebron, cut. How do we feel about this?
It's not. They're not cursed.
Yeah,
they are incompetent.
Yeah.
Only the Lions have these problems. But it's because of their decision making. It's not because the city of Detroit's cursed. It has nothing to do with that, guys. This is just bad decision making over a very long period of time. Look at the Los Angeles Chargers. They turned it around pretty quick. You know why? Because they go and take Darwin James. They can follow that up with Joey Bosa. They follow that up with who else? Justin Herbert. And then they follow it up with my friend, my dear friend, Rashawn Slater. When's the last time the Lions ever hit 4 consecutive first-round picks? That is the problem. They hit on TJ Hawkinson, though. Hit on Ragnow. That's good. Like, you've hit on some players, but you can't hit on 2-3 players every 10 years. You'll never have a good team that wins over a long period of time. It's not how it works. So, no, Kennedy, they're not cursed. You know, I know a lot of people love to say they're cursed, but they're just not. They're just not. Excuse me. They're just not. It's just called bad decision making for the longest time now. And Penei Sewell, I know you put him on the list, but I mean, he's hurt, but he's not missing the game. He's just hurt. So is Hawkinson. You look at Okuda, that's a problem. Missing 23 of a possible 33 games. That's a problem in your first 2 years, especially when you're taking number 3 overall. So that's my problem.
Yeah, they're definitely not cursed. A couple of these guys aren't bad either. You got Frank Ragnow. Yeah, he's hurt right now, but all pro. He's been healthy most of his career. Taylor Decker. Jury's not out. He had a great last year. Hoping he can come back sooner than later for this offensive line. But, yeah, Gerard Davis, Laken Tomlinson, he's obviously with the 49ers for the past, 4 years. And we don't got to talk about Eric Ebron. We don't even got to go there. So, it is. It has to do with more so management, because if you take a look at the Cleveland Browns, a team who our fellow 0-16ers, if you look at what they did in all these last drafts just in the first round, I'm not a fan of Baker Mayfield, but besides that, they've paid off for sucking. I mean, they got Denzel Ward, they got the Myles Garrett, Jabril Peppers, David Njoku. These are all guys that are still on their roster, that are still signed. Jedrick Willis. Now even this year, Greg Newsome, who's making plays. So it just takes competent GM work, and we have our guy, I guess, in Brad Holmes. He's only had one selection on this list, Penei Sewell, and the jury's still out on Penei Sewell. But overall, it just kind of speaks to kind of the situation the Lions are in, because all these 8 draft picks, 3 different GMs. You got Brad Holmes, Bob Quinn, and Martin Mayhew. So right there, you can compare to a lot of other teams around the league. Most of their last 8 first-round picks usually are with the same guy, unless your franchise, of course, is a little dysfunctional. But for the most part, it does. It speaks to the dysfunction, if you will, of the Detroit Lions, to an extent, although I like, as much flack as the Hawkinson pick was, I liked it personally, and now it seems to be working out. But yeah, the Okuda, number 3 overall, me and Adam go back and forth all the time about that. There is some mistakes. I mean, Eric Ebron and Jeff Okuda. Eric Ebron over Aaron Donald, of course. Okuda over a multitude of guys. Herbert, you could go Tua, you can go anybody. So those 2 really stand out to me. It's like those are the types of picks that if you hit on, you got a guy a part of your franchise for most of his career. Like if you hit on an Aaron Donald or you hit on, Justin Herbert, you got him. I mean, you got your guy for the next, 10 to 15 years if he stays with your franchise. So it does suck. I mean, Eric Ebron didn't work out. A lot of these guys are hurt currently, but I think over the next couple of years, you'll see more and more of these gotten right. Because I do. Brad Holmes has a scouting background. He's seemed to, make the right selections thus far. Penei Sewell, obviously, would love to see how that turns out. But I think we should be pretty comfortable, at least moving forward, because we don't have a Bob Quinn selecting in the first round, and we don't have a Martin Mayhew. Although Martin Mayhew did do a good job sometimes at drafting, but nonetheless, I think we should believe in Brad Holmes and his ability to take good players.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at his first year, okay, he took Penei Sewell. Okay, that's good. That's a good sign. He's got a hit now next year and the year after. That's the only possible way for you to really build a contending team. And again, it's not about hitting on one draft pick and then going a few years with misses and then hitting another one. Lions have done that. They went a 10-year stretch where they hit on 2 picks. Well, actually 3. And Ndamukong Suh, Calvin Johnson, and Matthew Stafford. They hit on those 3. And it was kind of like, what the hell is going on with the rest of them? It was all misses. So you can't expect a franchise, to be competitive for a consistent amount of time if they can't even nail the first-round pick correctly. That should be the easy one. That should be the guy that's probably an impact player year 2, year 3 for you. They're a good player.
Right.
How do you win Super Bowls? Well, that's when you draft in the second, the third round. You look at the Ravens. You look at the Patriots all these years. You look at the Steelers. You look at all these teams that can just do the simple things right. Nail the first-round pick at 3, 4, 5, 6 times in a given 7-8 year stretch, and figure it out in the later rounds. Develop some talent. I use the Chargers example. That is the perfect model for the Lions to work off of. Darwin James, Joey Bosa, Justin Herbert, Rashawn Slater. Go find me a 4-year period where the Lions have anything remotely close to that. Now, the Lions have Hall of Famers. They'll have a Calvin Johnson. They'll have a Barry Sanders. But they don't follow it up with anything.
Yeah.
And that's why you've never been good. It's not because you're cursed. It's because of poor decision-making at the top for the longest time. And that is something that has nothing to do with curses. You aren't cursed that you took Eric Ebron because your head coach wanted him so badly. And you went over your scouting department. Who told you Aaron Donald? That's not being cursed. That's called being incompetent across the board. Last I checked, the GM makes the final call. Yes, he's supposed to take the input of his head coach, his scouting team, but the GM should have the power and really the courage to go against what his coworkers are telling him. It's that simple. You don't have to agree. You should listen. But you don't have to agree, and then that's why you ended up with Eric Ebron. So no, you're not cursed, Detroit. Stop with the narrative. How many Stanley Cups do you have? How many NBA championships do you have? How many teams have you fielded in baseball that were really good teams? Like, this is not a Detroit's cursed, the city of Detroit's cursed, or even that the Lions are cursed. It has nothing to do with that. It's just the Lions have been incompetent for a very long time now, and you can't overcome that. It's very difficult to overcome. Yeah. It's that simple. But you look at the previous few drafts, right? You look at Jeff Okuda. He was taken number 3 overall. The problem with Jeff Okuda isn't that he's hurt right now, or that, the Lions missed on Okuda. No, that's been done. That's already a miss. It's done. You got to move on from that. Now, does he develop into a good corner, maybe a good number 2, and maybe even a number 1? We're not sure yet. But when you take a corner at number 3, he better be an All-Pro. He better make 7, 8 Pro Bowls. And he better be in consideration to be a Hall of Famer. That's what happens when you take a corner number 3. That's your expectation. Now, will Jeff Okuda live up to that? No, it's done. It's done. He's already missed basically his first 2 years. And you can be a bust for a multitude of reasons. It doesn't just have to be on performance. Not being available on the field, off the field issues. There are many, many factors. And labeling someone a bust. And Jeff Okuda has the next 3 years of his contract to figure it out. Get healthy, and show what he can do. But hopefully he's serviceable. Hopefully it's not a complete waste, and he can at least play for you for the next 4, 5, 6 years. That's your ideal scenario with Jeff Okuda. But eliminate All-Pro, eliminate 6, 7 Pro Bowls, eliminate it. It's done. And that goes back to incompetent decision making. Again, who takes a corner number 3 overall? Oh, the Lions do that. They did it in the early 90s with Bryant Westbrook. How'd that turn out? Oh, yeah. It didn't turn out great. Years later, Charles Woodson was drafted. We've seen Deion Sanders get drafted high in the top 5. We've seen Champ Bailey go high as a corner. Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Peterson, Okuda can't sniff any of these guys right now. And all these guys were impact players midway into year 1, year 2 minimum. And Jeff Okuda, injuries have kept him off the field. But when he has been on the field, I haven't seen anything special. So we look at all the first-round picks that the Lions have had. Sorry. It's not a curse. It's just really bad decision-making.
Yeah,
the Chargers don't even have a fan base. But their organization can somehow still get it right.
Honestly, we could discuss the second-round picks. I mean, we could go up the list. Seconds, thirds that haven't worked out.
But people got to stop clinging to it. They got to stop clinging on to,
True.
We always miss on the first and second round pick. Like, stop. Brad Holmes, so far, you look at year 1. Penei Sewell. Okay, good. We can agree we like the pick. So far, so good. Okay, good. Move on. He nailed the first round so far. You can't judge Penei Sewell as a bust so far unless you want to move him back to right tackle and watch him play horribly for the rest of the year, which they'll likely do. But that's on them. They can make that decision. Regardless, Brad Holmes, next year, you can evaluate him again. How did his picks from last year turn out? And you look at the upcoming draft. How does he do? How does he do? Who does he take in the first round? If he has a top 3 pick, is he trading back and getting more capital so he can adjust his roster? Because Lord knows they're 9, 10 players away. So you need as many picks as possible. You need to hit more than you miss. And that's what separates winners from losers. The winners hit more than they miss, and the losers miss more than they hit. Everybody can hit once in a while. Lions are a proven model of that. But if you want to be a franchise that's respected and that can win over a long period of time, you got to hit more than you miss.
And that's just the NFL. You're right on with that. I mean, every team's going to have guys that don't hit, but you got to make sure you're hitting more than you're not. That's just the bottom line.
That's right. And so coming up next, we're going to talk about someone that we could have drafted in the first round. Yes, we're talking Chicago's new starting QB officially, Justin Fields. So stick around for that. But before we go, we need to hear about our friends over at Northwestern Tech.
Well, I have an idea of where these guys who are busts with the Detroit Lions are going to. They're flocking over to Northwestern Tech because they can make good money coming right out of trade school. I mean, start a new career in an industry that is always essential. It's the heating and cooling industry. You learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning in to the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Happy Thursday, happy 6th birthday. But now we have to talk about someone that we passed on, Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields. He could have been a Detroit Lion if we really wanted him to. He was right there. First round selection rolled around at number 7 overall. Obviously, we took Penei Sewell, which I'm not too upset about, but the Chicago Bears traded up 9 spots with the New York Giants to draft him at number 11 overall. So quite a few teams watched him go by. Obviously, not all of them needed quarterbacks, and other quarterbacks went before him that are much better. But you guys, should we be upset that we did not draft Justin Fields, Jeff?
Absolutely not. And not yet, at least, because it's too early. Justin Fields hasn't even thrown a touchdown in his young career yet. 2 interceptions. He's still trying to find his way to the NFL. And on the flip side, Penei Sewell is still trying to get used to the NFL. He obviously just gave up, we all know 7 pressures, 2 sacks. Both guys are working through their hiccups a little bit. But to say that we should regret not drafting Justin Fields, if you look at where the Lions were, we acquired Jared Goff with 2 years left on his contract with a team that had many, many holes regardless of the quarterback position. So I honestly disagree with the question. I think Penei Sewell, I'll have the argument with you about Rashawn Slater or Penei Sewell or Micah Parsons or Penei Sewell, but I'm not going to have the Justin Fields argument just because at the time, if you select Justin Fields, yes, you have your quarterback. You have a guy who won't touch the field year 1, maybe 2, unless you trade Goff after the end of year 1 and you have Fields as your starter. But when you draft a quarterback, you want a majority of, if not all 5 years of that rookie deal, because if you look at what the Bears are doing, we're going to sit Justin Fields. We're going to have Andy Dalton. Look at, they're 5 games in. What's happening? Fields is named their starter for the rest of the season. They want the guy to get reps. So, in my opinion, if you're asking the question, should they have drafted Justin Fields, it's way too early, because if Justin Fields becomes, Lamar Jackson with an arm, then we can have a conversation. But
no,
at least right now, no, absolutely not. They shouldn't regret it.
Look at your timeline, Detroit. You can't you don't regret not drafting a quarterback. You would have wasted 2 years, and you wouldn't have had the cap space to surround him with the pieces he would need to succeed as a young quarterback in the NFL. What do young quarterbacks need? They need a situational/functional run game, right? You need to be able to run the ball, at least the whole team's accountable. You need some skill positions taken care of, not just the tight end position. So you need a few receivers. You think Justin Fields or any of these quarterbacks walk into Detroit and have success? Absolutely not. You had 2 years left of the Jared Goff contract before you seen him play a snap. The Lions were not in the market to draft a quarterback. You weren't going to waste 2 years of a rookie contract and really 1, because the first year he wasn't going to play.
Right.
And then you can make the argument, well, Adam, we could have started him year 2. But does that guarantee he pans out? And you're sitting here now without a left tackle. You would start the season without Taylor Decker, and you would be even in a worse position. And if Jared Goff somehow got hurt and you had to put in this rookie quarterback, well, my friend, you would look like the Chicago Bears right now.
Yep.
You wouldn't be able to protect your quarterback, and you would be not that dynamic on offense. It's that simple. No, the Lions shouldn't regret, not even just Fields, any quarterback.
Yeah. They
shouldn't have considered any quarterback this draft. This was not the draft to do it. It was the prior draft. I don't even want to get into that discussion. It's not even worth a conversation. It actually isn't. The Lions should not regret not going for a Justin Fields, a Mac Jones. Doesn't matter. It didn't. You have to look at teams, guys, and where they fell during a draft, right? It's easy to say, well, this team didn't take Deshaun Watson. They suck. This team didn't take Patrick Mahomes. They suck. Well, you really have to look at your team and be like, do we need a quarterback right now? Or do we need to shore up our defensive front, or our linebacking team, or our secondary, or our offensive line? If you have a quarterback, why are you taking one in the first round? Mm-hmm. Especially when the guy has 2 years left. Now, this upcoming draft, okay, makes sense. And we talked about this yesterday. Yeah. I don't mind taking a chance on a quarterback if they fall, let's say, in the 3rd or 4th round. I don't mind that. But in the first round, no. You're going the heavy defensive players, secondary players, defensive line, and you're going to do that for the first 2 rounds. And then maybe you consider a wide receiver, and then maybe a quarterback. And that's the only way. And you know what you need to do? You need to hit on these picks. You don't have the luxury of 4 or 5 years of plug and play trying to figure out, oh, this guy missed, this guy hit. Oh, but, we missed on the first round here, but the 3rd round guy is really good. No, you need to start hitting. And if Penei Sewell can develop into a top 5, top 3 left tackle, which I think we can all agree, we believe his ceiling, he can be the best left tackle in the NFL years from now.
Yeah.
So that's his ceiling. If he ever gets to that, well, it's not even a conversation you hit on the pick. But regardless, you were not in a position to draft a quarterback. Brad Holmes was not walking in after acquiring 2 first-round picks. Over the next 2 years, he was not coming in and drafting a quarterback. That's not how it works. We agree that they're 8-9 players away in total. Mm-hmm. Jeff Okuda may not even work out. You need a secondary help. You need safety help. You need linebacking help. Mm-hmm. Your defensive line is not getting any pressure.
You need weapons too.
Torn Achilles, he's done for the year. How does he return? How does he come back? Is he going to be slower? Is he going to be the same guy? So many questions. Quarterback is not the play last year, and it's not the play this year unless it's in the later rounds. So no, Justin Fields is a different scenario. I don't think he was a fit. I know there are people that wanted him, but no, he wasn't a fit in Detroit. I think he's a good fit in Chicago. Will it work out? Will he be the first quarterback to work in Chicago? We don't know.
And let me ask you this, just to play devil's advocate. Obviously, a lot of people aren't sure about, the 2022 NFL draft in terms of quarterbacks, and who knows, 2023 and so on and so forth. If Justin Fields, let's say, because we already have the Justin Herbert argument and what could have been with Justin Herbert, but let's say Justin Fields does work out, hypothetically, and he plays extremely well. He's in our division, and Penei Sewell becomes, a pretty serviceable, pretty good left tackle. Do you think people still feel the same way?
No. Again, your situation at the time, and let's say you're talking years from now.
Yeah.
Let's say 5 years. Okay. Let's play 5 years. 5 years away. 5 years from now, Justin Fields is a top 10 quarterback. Do the Lions regret not taking him? No. Okay. You've had 5 years and 4 drafts to not only get a quarterback, but shore up your skill position and totally revamp your defense. If you couldn't figure it out and build a contending team in 5 years, kick rocks, Justin Fields wasn't the solution. You just can't get anything right. You've had 5 years. So let's say Justin Fields develops into this quarterback. Great. What were you doing in that time? Where's the quarterback you developed?
Right.
It's not only just Justin Fields. Are the New York Jets going to regret not trading back or Sam Darnold? Like, they are years away from even making that call. You have time to shore up your defensive line, address your secondary needs. You need to address the wide receiver position, and you need to figure out a long-term franchise quarterback, because Jared Goff definitely isn't it. And if you do that, you don't have to worry about the Green Bay Packers. You don't have to worry about the Minnesota Vikings. You don't have to worry about the Bears. Just focus on yourselves and build the best product possible. And if you can do that, who cares if the Chicago Bears are flying with Justin Fields? Who cares? You'll have a good football team, a good football product, and ideally you get the quarterback right in the next 3-4 years. That's how it's done. Stop worrying about Justin Fields. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think we have to even be talking about this. It's way too early. I get why. I get it. He was just named a starting quarterback. He won his first game against Detroit. It's easy to talk about it, but Jesus.
What about the argument about
you didn't need him?
What about the argument other people have where they say, what about Rashawn Slater? What about Micah Parsons? You think Penei's still the...
you know what? The Rashawn Slater argument I can get on board with if you want to move Penei Sewell to right tackle.
Okay.
Which clearly they want to work on year one, which, again, doesn't make sense to me. Why? The kid can be the best left tackle in the NFL. That's why you drafted him. He has the ceiling to become the best left tackle in the NFL. Not a serviceable right tackle, not a top 8, top 12 left tackle. No. He has the ceiling to become the best at his position. And you want to move him to right tackle? If you needed a right tackle so bad, you should have taken Rashawn Slater.
Yep.
You didn't draft Penei Sewell to experiment and play him at right tackle and then move him back to left tackle, and everything is going to be, handy dandy. It's all going to be, flowers and roses. It's not how it works. Look, you don't want to take the cap hit this year by trading Decker? Okay, I can respect that. And you want to play the rest of the year with Penei Sewell at right tackle? I'll accept that on one condition. June 1st, Taylor Decker is cut or traded of next year. And Penei Sewell is the starting left tackle all of the 2022 season. That's the only way I even consider what's going on in Detroit right now. But no, I don't want Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons. I keep messing that up. I apologize. But Micah Parsons looks good in Dallas because he's playing also with, good players around him. Could he have walked in Detroit and really been a difference and an impact player? Sure. But I still am a fan of the Penei Sewell pick. He's not a bust yet. He hasn't shown any bust potential outside of in the preseason when he was being played out of position. And yes, he had a rough week against Chicago, but he's a rookie. And he's going to take his bumps and bruises, and he's going to learn. And if you want to give up on him and move him to right, make him learn that position all year, and then somehow bring him back next year. We've never seen this happen. I've never seen, and believe me, I've looked, and I've asked on social media, and nobody can give me an answer. Why? Because it's never been done. Where you draft a generational type player let's say in the lottery of the NFL draft, correct? If you want to use that word from the NBA.
Yeah.
Like in the top 6, top 8, top 10, let's say, where you drafted him knowing that this guy is generational type talent. You changed his position. You moved him to right tackle. You stayed there for a few years. Then he came back to left tackle and still lived up to his potential. It's never been done.
No.
The only
Only in
equivalent
Madden.
in
Yeah.
recent time was Marshall Yanda, but he was taken in the 3rd round. That was the only player I could find that was asked to change positions, go back, and still was a very good tackle. But he was taken in the 3rd round. His expectations were nothing. You expect this kid to be the best left tackle in the game. Move him to right tackle. Are you serious?
Listen,
I'll accept it under one condition. You cut Taylor Decker or you trade him at the end of next season.
We can
or
both-
June 1st, excuse me.
we can both agree that Penei Sewell has more upside, I think, in my opinion, than a Rashawn Slater. Even though Rashawn Slater's playing better immediately, they took Penei Sewell based on, projections and how he's, what is he, 6'6", 300 pounds, over 300 pounds. He's got quick feet. He just plays with that killer instinct. I think that's other reasons why they took a Penei Sewell. He's got a more of an upside, and we'll see over the next couple of years how that pays out, because it's too early to judge who they should have taken Rashawn, if they should have taken Justin Fields. You got to wait till these guys' careers pan out. First 5 games of their career, you're judging what Penei Sewell does, calling him a bust. It's way too early. It's way too premature.
All right, fair enough. Kennedy, what do you think?
If Penei Sewell's a bust?
No, it's Ohio State. It's your Ohio State guy.
I loved Justin Fields in college. Obviously, Ohio State quarterbacks have struggled in the NFL in the past. I'm hoping he is the exception. But did you just play some dumb drop?
Didn't the Lions learn from Gosder Cherilus, or are we not going to acknowledge that?
No.
Left tackle drafted.
Yeah.
Moved to right tackle.
Well,
has it happened? Is that
maybe
what you're
this regime
asking?
doesn't
No,
know.
but it's never. It's not that they don't. It happens all the time where you draft a tackle or a guard and you move them around. That's fine, but you don't draft them that high
Oh, I'm picking up what
and
you're
move
putting
them
down.
and expect them to reach their ceiling in a completely different position. Instead of coming out with your left foot now, you're coming out with your right foot. It's like totally different, especially for a 20-year-old who's raw. Now, you could use the argument, well, he's raw, we can develop him into a right tackle, but I promise you, this is his ceiling as a left tackle, and this is his ceiling as a right tackle. What do you prefer? Is it really
The
that hard
left.
of a decision? No, it's not. Stop being stupid.
Okay, on that note, we're going to talk college football when you guys come back. We've got the list of the top 10 college running backs according to Bleacher Report, so stick around for that. But before we go, we're going to have some odds talk here in a sec as well. So, Adam, where can people go to bet these odds?
Listen, there's only one place to be betting on anything, whether it's player props, individual games, season-long tickets, whatever it may be. You do it on MyBookie. Bet from anywhere, anytime using MyBookie. Sign up today using code Woodward. I showed you guys my 13 leg parlay actually the other day. Unfortunately, the Rams let me down and I only hit 12 out of the 13. Unfortunate, but hey, this is the game we play. Again, that's MyBookie. Bet from anywhere, anytime. Exclusively get a 50% deposit match when you use code Woodward. Again, sign up today, and we'll see you guys right after the break. But before we go, I do have to remind you, if you do have a gambling problem, please call the Gambling Problem Helpline at 1-800-270-7117.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network. All right, like I said, we're going to pivot to college football. Bleacher Report came out with their list of top 10 college running backs. So, guys, how do you want me to go about this? Do you want me to start at 10? Do you want me to read through the whole list? Do you want to go one by one?
Let's start from 10 and work down. Or you know what? Quickly read off 10 to 6, and then we'll do 5 to 1 individually.
Okay. So at 10, we have Chase Brown from Illinois. And then we have Deuce Vaughn from Kansas State.
Okay.
Trey Potts, Minnesota. Keaton Mitchell from East Carolina. And then at 6, Chris Rodriguez Jr. from Kentucky. I'm loving Kentucky right now, by the way.
Yeah, everybody loves Kentucky. They're 5-0, big win over Florida over the
Huge.
weekend. So
Crazy.
Yeah, they imagine this, a basketball program finally showing out.
Yep.
Kentucky is usually a team that gets
I think their
whooped.
coach could win Coach of the Year. Hot take.
If they win 10 games, maybe not even 10, 9 games. If they win 9 games, I think he should be a strong. It should be a strong consideration to name him Coach of the Year. Honestly, that's impressive in the SEC.
Crazy.
I mean, gotta give the man some love. Who are the top 5 running backs? I'm gonna assume who number 1 is.
I want to talk about this.
I'm kind of curious where Blake Corum falls on this list. So let's hear it.
Oh, you want 5 through 1?
Let's do 5 to 1, but individually. Let's take the time to
Okay.
talk about them.
At number 5, we have Mateo Durant from Duke.
Okay, so I would prefer Rodriguez, who is 6 on this list, over him. He's nice. He's quick off the edge. I'm not going to be too picky on this list.
Do you want his season stats?
Yeah, I know his stats. I know
Okay.
his stats. It's not so much the stats that he doesn't jump off the screen. But
Okay.
I'll tell you who does jump off the screen, and it ain't Kenneth Walker on this top 5 list.
ooh,
So
I know
we'll get
who you're
there.
talking about.
Go up there, and
Ooh.
it's
Go
someone
ahead,
who I
Kennedy.
think
Keep
should be a
going.
little
Let's
higher.
just talk
All
about what
right,
people want to
Sean Tucker from Syracuse.
Good running back. But
Yeah.
let's get into the
Okay,
meat
top
and
3.
potatoes of this.
Trayvon Henderson, Ohio State. Woo! Go
Yeah.
Bucks!
He's been
Oh,
playing
wait.
good. He's been playing good.
Yeah, every running back looks good at Ohio State.
Right. So
Look at Zeke.
give him
Fat
top
and-
3.
Fat and ready to be out of the
Zeke
league
was
soon.
not fat. I'm sick of you. He literally had abs. He would wear
Yeah,
his crop
he had
top.
abs
You could
in
see
Ohio
them.
State. At Ohio State, he had abs.
Well,
he was a
he
good
doesn't
back.
wear the crop
Year 1
top
in Dallas,
anymore,
he was
really.
phenomenal. And every year since, it's been,
No, and he rocks
They're
the crop
feeding him.
top the first year in
yeah, and then he
Dallas
started
too.
picking up that bread weight. How's that working out for him?
Oh boy. All right.
Number 2 is Blake Corum, isn't it?
No.
No. Are you kidding me?
Corum's not even in the top 10?
No.
I don't know why. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
All right, let's hear this list. Go
I
ahead.
don't agree with
Okay,
that.
from
Yeah, it is
Texas.
ridiculous.
Is it Bijan?
Yeah,
Bijan Robinson.
that's fine. He's
good.
a stud.
He's a stud. I love Bijan Robinson.
Blake
Okay.
Corum's not in the top 10?
Swear.
It's ridiculous.
Am I missing something?
I don't know. I don't know why.
I would right now have him in my top 6.
Yeah.
And I would be like, I could argue for 5 and I could argue for 7.
Yeah.
You know, I can put him anywhere in between that. 5
Definitely
to 7.
top 10. That's
He's got to be in the
ridiculous.
top 10. Are you kidding me? The guy is one of the most explosive backs in college football right now. Are you guys not watching on Saturday? Bleacher Report? Hello?
And just to give you an idea, he has
Hello?
just as many yards as Trayvon Robinson.
I don't even care about the stats.
But
Who
I'm just
jumps
saying-
off my screen?
I'm just saying.
Kenneth Walker jumps off my screen.
Well, hold on.
Bijan jumps off my screen. Blake Corum jumps off my freaking screen.
Hold on. Blake Corum shares a backfield, correct?
Yes.
And he has just as many rushing yards and touchdowns as Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. So that's impressive to me. If he's getting 25 to 30 carries a game, who knows what this man can do? But that's not here or there. He should be top. He should be in the top 10. I agree with you. Outside of the top 5, maybe 6 to 8. You could argue even 5. You can make a strong argument to be in that top 5 category. So that's surprising.
Kennedy, can you explain to me how Blake Corum isn't in the top 5 or at least
No,
top
I
10?
can't
Am I missing
explain this
something?
to you. Call Bleacher Report.
The guy's got 7 touchdowns
Yeah.
in 5 games, 521 yards in a shared backfield. Do I have to remind you? He averages 6.2 yards a carry.
80.
Do you want me to go to his receiving yards?
Look
Do
at
I
his
have to-
attempts, though. 84 attempts.
He's
compared to the-
efficient and he's
Yes.
dynamic and he's explosive.
compared to these other backs. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, some of these backs are. Blake Corum gives you something different that none of these backs can give you. A lot of these backs are very one-dimensional. They can run through the tackles, but on the edge, they're not going to beat you for pace. They're not going to make explosive plays unless the team just completely breaks down on defense. He's not going to. Half of these guys aren't going to make people miss the way Blake Corum can make people miss. I am not following this list. I'm really not. I'm sitting here going along with this list while she's reading 10 to 5, thinking, all right, well, they have Blake Corum pretty high here. Okay, all right. We get to number 3. Okay, wow, Blake Corum's number 2. She throws an Ohio State running back at me. Unbelievable. Kenneth Walker should be number 1 right now. I think it's a great story.
Yeah.
But Blake Corum's got to be in the top 10. He's got Hassan sharing reps with Hassan Haskins. He's not even getting all the red zone touches. My God, are we serious right now? Why is he not in the top? Is there like a reason that they put on the article? Hey, these are the 5 backs that missed the list, and here's why. Anything?
No. It is ridiculous. Whoever made it's losing credibility. I mean, I like Bijan Robinson personally. I think
I like them all.
Yeah,
I don't like that 7 of them or 6 of them are over Blake Corum. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
he's one of, if not the most explosive back in college football right now, and he's being underutilized. Why? Because it's Michigan. They have a 2-3 back system, which is fine. But if you just watch the games, the guy jumps off your screen. He can run between the tackles, outside, and he can hit you for the home run plays. Something most of these backs can't even do.
Yeah.
Are we serious?
He's in the honorable mentions.
Great. Wow.
But he's like at the end of the honorable mentions list, so I don't know.
This is dumb.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean,
you're telling me there's a Duke and a Kentucky running back listed over a Michigan running back? Let's just forget the names right now. What are we doing? The guy has to be an SEC writer or an ACC writer.
I think he's the best, probably running back in the Big Ten. I'm going to be on it right now.
I mean, you can make the argument between him and Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
But if he's like toe-to-toe with Kenneth Walker, how is he not in the top 10?
Yeah, besides Kenneth Walker, I meant. But he's up there. He's up there. I mean, who else?
Wow.
Travion Henderson.
This really
I think
took me by surprise.
If you want to have the Travion Henderson and Blake Corum argument, I think you could probably argue Blake Corum in a lot of the
Henderson isn't on the level right now of Blake Corum or Kenneth Walker. Let's just call that what it is.
Yep. And he's third on this list.
And he's playing on an Ohio State team that week to week should be romping every single team they play. 9 times out of 10. So he's in a much better situation.
Yep.
You kidding me? My goodness. You know what? I hope, let's say 2 weeks from now heading into state, people are respecting Blake Corum in the media more. I mean, this guy is... Holy crap. Are we serious? You're lying to me. I'm sorry. I don't believe this list. Prove it to me. I don't believe it.
I'm swearing up and down. He's in the honorable mentions. Do you want to hear the other honorable mentions?
Yeah, sure.
Does that make you feel better?
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Oh, gosh. I'm going to need help with some of these names. Breesy Hall? Breesy?
I don't care.
From Iowa State?
That's fine.
BYU?
You know what? If anything... All right, continue. Go ahead.
Tyler Algier? How do you say
All right, move on.
Okay. Brian Robinson Jr. from Alabama.
Okay.
Florida State, Zach Evans. And then it's TCU.
I don't understand. You know, I could make the argument today that Kenneth Walker
CJ
is the best back.
in
Is
there?
the best back in college football right now, right? I can make that argument, and it'd be very difficult for you to argue with me. He's putting up all the numbers. He looks good. He's been consistent. He's won some big games, ran really well on the road against teams that they were underdogs against. Wow, okay. And Blake Corum, I could make the same argument, is a top 3, top 5, maybe even top 6. If I can make the argument easier the higher I go up. The dude's a top 10 back in college football right now. How is he not on your list? Honorable mention? I don't give a shit.
Doug makes a good point. He said, does a list have a height limit?
Nah.
It has to.
I don't understand. The guy
Blake
is...
Corum's 5'8". Everyone else
I
on
keep
his list.
saying it, but like this is reality. Blake Corum is one of, if not the most explosive back out of the backfield right now in college football. Joel Klatt agrees with it, and there are plenty of other college football analysts that are willing to put Blake Corum at least in the top 10. How Bleacher Report comes out with this list? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And the guy offers you special teams. He's on your special teams unit. Like, he does everything for you. I don't get it. Oh my goodness. I don't like this at all. That's such a bad list. How is this allowed to go public? That should be taken down and redone, and Blake Corum should be in the top 6, at least, minimum. Even though I think he's the top 4, top 5 back right now. Is this real life?
Yeah.
Anybody? Can you guys help me here?
No, I mean, who made the list? ESPN?
Bleacher Report.
Bleacher Report,
Oh, then
which
yeah,
might be...
there you go.
Which is, I believe,
I think
owned by
they're-
ESPN.
yeah.
So that explains the,
Yeah, there you go. ESPN
They like
essentially.
quality
SEC.
of the list right there. I don't like this
Not
at
showing
all.
no love to essentially Michigan. I mean, they love SEC and all these other teams. I mean, they got Michigan
honorable
State.
mentions in the
Honorable mentions don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Hey,
I know.
guys, I was an honorable state player in mob days. Like, it doesn't mean
Bleacher
anything.
Report said I was an honorable
It
mention.
doesn't mean anything.
Like a little participation award. You know, it's like
Move on.
playing
I hate
well.
this topic. This is
He
actually
should be
really
in top
frustrating.
6.
At least
man.
they got Kenneth Walker right.
Congratulations. You got 1 out of the 10. Bleacher Report, congratulations. You're the Detroit Lions. You got the number 1 right. You got the rest of the list wrong. Congratulations. You hit 1 out of 10 times. Great job. Great job. Unbelievable.
We didn't have to compare them to the Lions.
Well,
Felt
the article's that
unnecessary.
bad. The article's that bad.
All right, well, coming up next, we're going to talk about something else I don't agree with, which I promised you odds were coming up. We're talking about the NFL MVP odds currently, but before we got to go to break, I have to tell you about my friends at Legacy Partners Insurance. When you watch football games, you guys know you get insurance ads left and right, and they swear up and down they're going to get you the best deal. But listen, no. They're not. They are lying to you. Legacy Partners Insurance will get you the best deal. They're independent, so they shop between 7 and 10 carriers for your for your insurance needs to find you the best deal. Here's what I need you to do. Call 586-209-4106 and tell them that I sent you, not Maz. Tell them that Kennedy sent you just for getting a quote, and telling them that I sent you, you'll be put in a drawing for a $50 gift card. So go to or call legacypartnersins.com/Woodward today.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. And at Hall Financial, we treat our clients like family. And our number 1 priority is giving each of our clients 5-star service. Our passion for 5-star service, combined with our expertise, allows us to find the best possible solution for refinancing your home loan. We take the time to focus on both the individual and the numbers. We're going to walk you through the process and close your loan in half the time of our competition. Go to davidhallmortgage.com today.
Welcome back, everyone. I promised you we've got the odds right here for the 2021 NFL MVP. Here's a hint. Matthew Stafford is not on this list that I have, and that's what I don't like about it. This is my beef with the list, but here we go. The 2021 NFL MVP awards odds, and we'll see if Adham agrees, because, you know, he's actually a pretty good bettor around here. Won me some money over the weekend. All right. Kyler Murray is plus 500. Patrick Mahomes at plus 650. Josh Allen at plus 800. Tom Brady plus 1,000. Dak Prescott plus 1,000. Aaron Rodgers plus 1,000. Justin Herbert plus 1,000. And we freaking love Herbie around here. So I don't know. Adam, as a betting man, what do you think about this list and these guys' odds?
To be honest, I don't like all of their odds. The only one that I think is reasonable is Josh Allen plus 850. That's not bad. Kyler Murray plus 500 isn't bad either. I mean, he's 4-0 right now.
Right.
They got a tough game this weekend against San Francisco. We'll see what happens there. But right now, Kyler Murray and Josh Allen are your front runners for MVP. I think Stafford fell off this list way too quickly. And if I'm a bettor, which I am, I'm taking his odds. I'm assuming they're plus 1,200, plus 1,500. If it's somewhere around there, I'm taking a bet on it. They lost one game, and in a game where their offense was just awful. Okay, I expect most good NFL teams to lose 3 games 4 years over a given year, or 3 games over a given season. There's plenty of losses for everybody on this list still to come. I don't get it. If I'm making a bet today, I got to go with Josh Allen over Kyler Murray. I think we haven't seen Murray really last an entire season, right? We've seen him come out like this explosive, dynamic, putting up all the numbers. And by week 10, 11, 12, he starts to slow down. And whether that's because of injury or, teams are figuring out what the Cardinals are doing, I don't know. But maybe this is the year he changes that narrative. And I hope he does, because I'm rooting for the guy. But I got to take Josh Allen going forward as my lead front runner. I still think Stafford's a very good bet if you want to bet on the MVP race. To be honest, you're getting his odds over plus 1,200. That's a great deal. It's a great deal. It's a steal, actually, considering how well he played the first 3 games. They have one bad game, and his odds plummet in a good way for bettors. So I would consider putting money on Stafford. I'm not mad that he's off the list. I don't really have a problem with that. These change literally daily. So, after Thursday night, Russell Wilson could be a front runner.
So
or it could be,
who's your top 3 right now currently in the NFL? Like if you had to put a list,
Like
one
if I
being
was
the
voting
favorite.
or if I'm
Yes.
betting on it.
Let's say you're voting.
Okay.
In your opinion, no betting.
If I'm voting, right now Kyler Murray gets number one.
Okay.
Although
Just as of right now.
Just as of right now,
Yeah.
they're undefeated. They're they're the only undefeated
Yep.
team in the NFL right
Yep.
now. So 4 games in, the season ended today. Kyler Murray's the MVP.
Okay.
The second place finisher would be Josh Allen, and I would have Matthew Stafford at third place.
That's exactly me too.
Really same
Yep,
thing.
same thing. Then I got Dak and then Herbert. Just because Dak's leading the
You know
entire
what?
NFL.
Dark horse. I don't like his odds though. Plus 1,000 is too. It's a good number. Vegas got that one right.
Yeah.
Like I want to bet on Herbert. If they win the AFC West, it's going to be hard for anybody not to give him the MVP. So watch out for Justin Herbert. He's playing amazing. He's already tied the NFL record for most 3 touchdown, zero interception games in his first 2 seasons. Keep in mind, we still have 13 more games to go this season.
Yeah.
Kid's a stud. My goodness. My goodness.
I mean, I agree with you. Kyler Murray's should be at least number 1 as of right now. That could change. Going to San Francisco, he could have a couple bad games and be out of it. But in terms of right now, they're undefeated. He looks good. He's their quarterback, and so he deserves to be number 1. I think number 2, I agree. Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford. It was hard for me to go back and forth between the two. I just think Josh Allen's doing more with less, if you will. Like they have the same record, but I think Matthew Stafford has a significantly better defense. And yeah, he has.
Well, to be fair, the Rams' defense hasn't played well this season.
They haven't.
The offense has been the one that's somewhat been the consistent theme for them this year. I gotta say, the Bills are a more complete team than the Rams.
But come playoff time, I would probably trust Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. That's my opinion.
Yes.
Than a Bills defense.
True, but I have a good feeling about the Bills this year. I think it's their year. I think Josh Allen wins the MVP. He probably should have won last year.
Do you think who has more around them, in your opinion? You think
between the 3
or the 2, Josh or Matthew Stafford? Because
on offense or just in general?
In general, just a complete team.
God, that's tough.
Because that's what it comes down to.
The Rams have more like known names,
right?
But the Bills are a pretty complete roster. They addressed their defensive line issues in the draft this year. I'll stick with the Rams for now.
Okay.
But it's really close. I mean, you're talking. If I'm doing like a number grade, let's say I give the Rams a 92, I'm giving the Bills a 91. It's not that off. It's not that far off.
Yeah, they're playing good. I mean, after Stafford, I got Dak and then Justin Herbert after that top 5. I think there's a chance Stafford, like you said, climbs back into that number 1 conversation. It's so early in the season. Stafford can come out. He's obviously
one of these guys may not lose another game for the rest of the year. You don't know.
True.
It could be somebody on the list. It could be Herbert. It could be Dak. They finished 15-2. You don't know what's going to happen, right? But right now, if you had to give the award, it's hard for me to argue against not giving it to Kyler Murray. Yeah. Although I would give it to Josh Allen, I kind of can't not give it to Kyler Murray. It's really tough. So, Kennedy, what do you think? Do you have a problem with Stafford, 1, not being on the list, and 2, who's your MVP so far?
Listen, I have a problem with Stafford not being on the list at all. Like, he literally loses 1 game and they just drop him. What is this? Crap. That's what it is. I think it's bull that he's not on there. I feel like he should be like mid-list. He's been awesome. I'm very confused by it.
Okay, I just checked right now, and this is from September 29th. So his odds are plus 600 according to this one sports book. But that's prior to the loss.
Changed?
That's prior to the loss. So I want to see what it is
now.
now.
How did he drop?
Well, he was almost a favorite. He was a favorite over Kyler Murray, keep in mind, going into the game. So again, if I'm a bettor and they just drop Stafford to 12, 14, 1,500, my goodness, I'm taking that bet. I'm putting $50, $100 on that bet.
Right.
That is free money, essentially. It's like low risk.
Yeah.
Because I expect this team to win 12, 13 games. And if they do, well, that means my bet has a good chance of winning. So you're taking your odds here. If Stafford's if he fell off that much, great. As a bettor, I'm happy about it. And I'll double down on him potentially being an MVP candidate. I don't see a problem with it.
Okay.
And
like it.
And again, it's the Seahawks. Seahawks. They play the Seahawks.
They do play the Seahawks.
well, this is what I'm saying. They play the Seahawks. They play the Cardinals one more time. They play the Niners twice. He's going to have big games in his own division that he's going to have to show up and play in. And if they finish with a 4-2 record, let's say, a winning record in their division, that's a huge win. That's a good check mark to have on your MVP resume. And then you finish with 12, 13 wins, let's say, and you win the division, oof. It's going to be tough to bet against him for MVP. And I could make that same argument for Josh Allen, for Kyler Murray, and for especially Justin Herbert.
This is what I don't understand about this list right now, is that after one loss, Stafford got dropped off the list from being ranked very, very high on it. But Aaron Rodgers is still here, and he got smoked week 1.
Well, that's
so what losses
fans
matter?
love to jump after one game. So like Charles McClain, for example. Rams fans now see the real Matthew Stafford when playing good teams with a winning record. So the win against Tampa Bay doesn't count. Winning on the road against a good
against the
Indianapolis
Super Bowl
Colts
champs
team.
don't count.
Nothing counts when it's Matthew Stafford. Don't worry.
Okay.
And believe me, I'm a
I hate
critic
it
of
here.
him. But I think that's pathetic, actually. I think it's pathetic. So you guys say what you want, but the guy's in the best situation he's ever been in. And because of that alone, he'll do better than he's ever done in Detroit. It's that simple.
I got to bring this up. I see a couple people in the chat talking about Aaron Rodgers and their conversation for MVP. What's your take on that? I mean, especially this year.
Early.
He's
you know
playing
what?
well.
I got to say, Aaron Rodgers the last 2 games has been phenomenal.
8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the season. Most of them coming to
the only 2 came in the first game.
Yeah.
So he had no touchdowns the first game, right?
Yep.
So he's been 8 touchdowns, 0 picks since.
3 on the board.
He's playing very well. You have to remember, narrative, guys. Narrative plays a big part in the MVP trophy.
Of course, yep. Like last year, Aaron Rodgers.
Last year, Aaron Rodgers was a great narrative.
Yep.
He has to do much better than he did last year to even be considered. That's difficult to do. Matthew Stafford has the narrative side going for him. Kyler Murray has the narrative. Dak, the narrative. Herbert, the narrative. There's so many guys with the narrative that is better than even Josh Allen to an extent. They have a better narrative going for them than an Aaron Rodgers would. But you got to keep him up there with those odds because he's just playing phenomenal.
I was just going to say, explain this narrative thing to me because I guess I don't really know. So is the fact that Rodgers wants to get out of Green Bay and is just like all the preseason drama, does that hurt his MVP odds or no? Like when it comes to these whoever votes and you know what I mean?
Well,
Jeff, do you know?
it's tough because last
Thanks,
year
Adam.
they drafted Jordan Love and obviously Aaron Rodgers came out and had a monster season. I think that's what really drove his MVP case this year. Year after you still have Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, like last season, what do you have? 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. We've seen seasons like that out of Aaron before, like limited interceptions, 30 plus touchdowns. So the statistics they were popping off the page, but they weren't out of the norm for Aaron Rodgers. I think it was, like Adam said, it's the storyline of they drafted his back a quarterback to replace him. He played extremely well that season, and they went 13-3. So record was there. They checked all the boxes. So this year, Kyler Murray,
what's his
Stafford,
narrative, right? What's Aaron Rodgers' narrative? Honestly, you can't use the Jordan Love argument anymore. He was a drama-filled offseason that
right.
It was his conflict.
That's what I was asking. Does that help or hurt him?
It hurts him.
Okay.
It hurts him. He caused all this. He overcame himself. Wow. What a story. Justin Herbert wins the AFC West. That's a story. Matthew Stafford wins the division and let's say has an MVP type year. That's a story. His first year out of Detroit. Josh Allen, 40 touchdowns almost last year. Goes way past those numbers. They win another 13 games this year. He deserves to be in the MVP conversation, turning Buffalo around, making them a true contender, showing that it wasn't a fluke year last year. Kyler Murray fell off last year towards the end of the season, didn't look the same. Takes an Arizona Cardinal team everybody expected to finish 3rd or 4th in division, and he wins the division. That's a narrative. That's a story I can get behind for an MVP. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that narrative this year, and that's why I think even if he comes close to the numbers he did last year, it's not going to be enough for him to win the MVP. It just isn't.
Agreed.
It's tough to win back-to-back MVPs.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to throw for over 50 touchdowns, less than seven interceptions, and the Packers need to win 14, 15 games, realistically, for him to win the MVP. That's asking a lot. It's asking a lot, and it's a 17-game schedule now, so we'll see.
All right. Well, coming up next, we're going to talk. The Pats had a little mistrade with the Carolina Panthers. Stick around for that. We'll get into that. Did the Lions miss out on Stephon Gilmore? I don't know. We'll find out when we come back. But before we go, we need to hear about our friends at Papa Romano's.
Well, I can tell you about Woodward Sports' MVP, and one of them being Papa Romano's, because Papa Romano's has a pizza that's pleased to meet you. See what I did there? Meet you. Toppings, they got pepperoni, ham, Italian sausage, ground beef, bacon, and topped with a blend of fresh cheeses. You can get yourself a large pizza for only $16.99. Go to paparomanos.com and snag one up.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning in to the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network. All right, so the Pats traded cornerback Stephon Gilmore to the Carolina Panthers for a 2023 sixth-round pick, I want to say. Is that right? Do you guys know?
I think it was a sixth-round pick.
Sixth-round pick. Okay. Obviously, the Lions' secondary here is super depleted and just we're hurting. We're hurting. So we could use a Pro Bowl corner. But, Jeff, I want to know from you, should we have traded for Gilmore in particular?
No, and this is why. Listen, we need a Pro Bowl corner. I agree with that, but a Pro Bowl corner who's going into his 10th season, probably not. But you know what? Stephon Gilmore, he was one of the best corners. He still is amongst the best corners in the league. This season, having a little bit of a down year, if you will, for Stephon Gilmore, considering why Bill Belichick moved on from him, got rid of him for a sixth-round pick to the Carolina Panthers. And kudos to Matt Rule for not letting him go to free agency and calling up old Bill Belichick and asking him, what do you want? I got it for you. Because they wanted to improve their secondary. You saw it, C.J. Henderson. Now they got Gilmore, a veteran, to accompany J.C. Horn. They got, obviously, all these young guys they have. It's a great move. Jeremy Chin in the secondary. But for the Lions, where they're at now, acquiring Gilmore isn't going to help us win 10 games. It's not going to help us win 9 games. It's going to improve our defense, and I doubt Gilmore, in his mind, wants to go to any other team. I mean, obviously he didn't have a choice. It was a trade. But in his mind, he wouldn't be happy going to any other team, but at least a team who's competing, who's trying to win. And the Carolina Panthers, they sit 3-1 right now, and they're trying to make some noise in their division. So it was a perfect destination for him. I don't think the Lions would have been at least the best destination. He would have came over. He would have been our number 1 corner right next to Amani Oruwariye. And that would have been it. He would have played the entirety of the season and probably left or got traded. So it's a meaningless move. Good for Stephon Gilmore going to the Carolina Panthers. He's going to shore up their secondary. But the Lions, we'll get to Jalen Smith later on in the show. I don't see Stephon Gilmore being the guy that the Lions should be going after. There's other guys. If you want to get someone who's on the younger, 27, whatever, 26, that's fine. You target those younger guys that are good, but just wait until the draft. This team has so much holes to address. So signing a Stephon Gilmore isn't going to solve all your issues or remotely solve any of them. So, no, I think the Lions did good. Even if they reached out and called up Bill Belichick, it's pointless. You let Gilmore go to a winning team, and Jalen Smith went to the Packers like we all expected. You go to a winning team, a team that's competing right now. If the Lions were in a position to compete, and we needed, let's say, a couple more pieces on the defensive side of the ball, you go out and you get a Stephon Gilmore. I have no issue with that at all. But if you're where you're at now and you haven't gotten a win yet, you're still trying to figure out other things about your football team, Gilmore is not the answer. He's not.
Yeah, I don't understand why the Lions were even linked to him, why they would even consider it. I don't see how it's a fit. 31 years old, $7 million cost. You already have a lot of dead cap space. He does nothing for you. He's not returning for another few weeks, coming off a quadricep surgery. I mean, what do you expect? Stephon Gilmore joins the team, and wow, that helps us. No, it doesn't. You need Bobby Price, AJ Parker. You need these young guys to be playing and getting as many reps as possible. Now, if they're making the same mistake over and 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 over again, well, you got to figure that out. But signing a veteran or trading for a veteran, you're not in that position yet. The Panthers are, because they're 3-1 and they're trying to make the playoffs, maybe even win their division. Who knows? But you know what? They lost J.C. Horn. They traded for C.J. Henderson, and now they traded for Stephon Gilmore. It's a great move. Was that Corey?
No.
Okay.
It was not Corey. But the man has a prosthetic leg. It's not Corey. But you know what? Anyway, moving on. God, I love Adham
You
so
just
much.
throw me off today. God.
If you guys can't see, a man just peeked in the glass, scared Adham half to death. You know, he's a tough guy, but I don't know who that was. That was it was almost worse than the dude walking in on the show that one time.
Yesterday, some dude just literally walked up behind Kennedy, then walked out of the building.
And I had no idea. They were looking at me with like crazy eyes, and I'm like, why are you guys looking at me like that? And they were like, there was a man behind you.
But you know what?
We
No
hired
man,
security guards.
no man changes the opinion. All right, no man. Even the prosthetic leg. I'm still. You don't trade for Stephon Gilmore. You don't. The Lions. You know what? Brad Holmes gets it. I'm sure, and he understands. Listen, we give up a 6th-round pick. That 6th-round pick could potentially be your future, at least bench player or starter in the future. So why give it away to a guy who's 31 years old? Probably going to leave you when his contract's up. So no, we mutually agree there.
Yeah, no, there's no point in this. To be honest, again, if the Lions were in a position where Okuda goes down, if he goes down, and they're a 2-2 ball club, they have a good roster, good quarterback, good wide receivers, the defensive front is playing well, okay, then you consider trading a late pick and going to grab a Stephon Gilmore, taking a chance. Hopefully he comes in and helps the team. But you don't have that need.
Right.
You need 10, 8, 9, 10 players. You don't need one player who's just going to take reps from your young guys that you kind of need to figure out, are they even going to be with us in the future? Because that's all you're looking forward to right now. If you're a Detroit Lions, whether you're a fan, you're part of the organization, a coach, a player, right now it's who is going along with us for this journey.
Yep.
Because we're not going to be good this year. We'll be average next year. And by year 3, we should take the step where we're on the cusp of either the playoffs or we're contending for the division. Doesn't mean you have to win the division, but you have to at least show gradual growth and improvement year to year to year. That's it. That's not asking for too much. Actually, it's not an unfathomable concept. Actually, like I said earlier in the show, do the simple things right, and your fortunes will change tremendously. Nail 4 straight first-round picks. I promise you, you will have a good football team for a long time. Go pull off a Darwin James, Joey Bosa, Justin Herbert, Rashawn Slater. Go pull that 4-year stretch off, and we can talk about the Lions having a good football team. You can start with Penei Sewell. What are you going to do next year? What are you going to do the year after that and the year after that? And if you can do that for a consistent amount of time, well, you'll erase that same old Lions narrative. You'll become a team that's actually respected around the league and a team that can actually compete for a substantial amount of time. Not just go 10-6 one time, 11-5 another time, and then that's it. That's all. We busted everything we had. We gave everything we had to just have 2 10-win seasons, 10+ win seasons, excuse me, over the last 20 years. That's what we did. Really? That is why you've failed. It's because you can't nail your first-round picks. You can't nail your second-round picks. You don't have 3rd, 4th-round picks that come in and just really make a difference on your team. That's what's holding you back.
Oh, no!
Not Matthew Stafford, not the curse, and nothing. So get over it.
And you know what? This situation happens every year in the NFL where there's at least 1 to 2 guys a year who are available to be moved for cheap. I mean, this happens. So next year, the year after that, the Lions are going to be in a better position. They're going to have more players on the roster. Who knows? There might be another guy available to them, and I'm sure they'll pull the trigger on that. We got Brad Holmes. He makes moves, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, you got to trust Brad Holmes so far. There's no reason not to.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to.
Not to Troy
Brad
Weaver.
Holmes.
He ain't gonna make moves like Troy Weaver, but
you got to give him time. So far, his first draft, you like pieces of it.
Yeah.
You have to wait and see how these guys develop. Derek Barnes, how's he going to turn out? Is he going to turn into a serviceable, good linebacker? Ideally, yes. A.J. Parker, Bobby Price, Jeff Okuda now, can he develop at least into a good corner? Is he going to be something? Is he going to be a 1, a 2, a 3? We don't know yet. Takes time. But so far, you can look at Brad Holmes' decisions and his moves and say, okay, not bad. I trust you. And that's why I am very adamant that we get as much draft capital as possible over the coming years by trading a Taylor Decker. Because you want to load up Brad Holmes as many times to make the correct decision. Because he has a track record of scouting and making good calls on very good players. And if he can translate that into becoming a good GM, well, my friends, you want to give him as many picks as possible. because he'll make the right decision, let's say 6, 7, 8 times out of 10. And that is how you build a good football team. Not by hitting once or twice every 10 times.
100%.
Fair?
I mean, that's it.
Something here, Jeff?
That's it. I think the only other person you can make an argument, which we'll talk about later, is Jalen Smith. I mean, maybe some people want to make a move for Jalen Smith, 26 years old.
Well, he's going to the Packers.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, we'll talk about it. Should the Lions have made a move? But, yeah, that's it for us.
All right, you guys. Coming up next, we're going to get into all of these Lions injuries. There are quite a few now, and how it's going to most likely affect our game against the Vikings this weekend. But you guys know, I know where the party's at. Our pregame is at O'Toole's in Royal Oak, just like it is for every away game. So come join us from 11 to 1 for the Woodward Sports Live Lions pregame. Ryan Armani will be there. Maz, Jay from Riff, myself, and more will help host this awesome pregame. So you guys make sure you come out and support Riff, Woodward Sports, Jose Cuervo, all the good people at O'Toole's this Sunday to cheer on the Lions. All right. Now we need to hear about the best defense in the world, Guardian Alarm.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know who plays better defense than Stephon Gilmore at age 31? It's Guardian Alarm. And you know why? Because they get it. Good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm has really state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm has convenient features that let you check in on your home, control lights and temperatures, and detect smoke or carbon monoxide. It will even let you lock and unlock your doors. Call this number, 800-STAY-OUT today. That is 800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years at keeping families like Fish and Arts safe.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome, everyone. You're listening to Woodward Sports, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Welcome back. Like I said, quite a few injuries happening at the Lions facility right now. You guys, TJ Hawkinson was not practicing yesterday with a knee injury. Penei Sewell now has an ankle injury. We have all the guys we've been talking about that have been out now on IR for a hot second. And then limited practice, we had DeAndre Swift with a groin injury, Jamal Williams with a hip injury, Michael Brockers with a shoulder, and then Trey Flowers with a knee. He was in limited practice, but this is the first time he's been back to practice in a while, so I think we may see him in this game. So there's a little tinge of good news. Now, the Vikings used to be, I believe, a 7-point favorite. With all of these injuries, it's now moved to an 8.5 favorite. So, Adam, what do you think? How bad are all these injuries for our game against the Vikings?
Well, first, the line, it's moving because a lot of people are betting now, because of the injuries, even more on the Vikings. So it'll continue to move up, and maybe by Sunday they're a 9.5 point favorite. Maybe it's going to take a significant amount of money to move that up another point, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it comes down. I'm not sure. Maybe people now love that number for the Lions. We'll have to wait and see how people are betting on it. But it's a lot of injuries for the Lions, but I would take their injury report with a pinch of salt in regards to TJ Hawkinson and Penei Sewell. All right. George Kittle, Antonio Gibson, players like this around the league. It happens everywhere. They miss practice on Wednesday, miss practice on Thursday. They're fine for Friday, walkthroughs, everything's fine. And they show up on Sunday and they play just fine. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with TJ Hawkinson and Penei Sewell. I think they'll play. It's not going to be that big of an issue. I think the concern here more for Detroit is the Vikings are much healthier than the Detroit Lions are. And that's a problem. Detroit's already handicapped enough. If you walk into Sunday with Penei Sewell at 80%, Hawkinson 80%, I mean, let's be honest. What scenario are we expecting to play out on Sunday? And we'll break it down more tomorrow. But honest question here. What do you expect on Sunday if you're walking in with your left tackle playing at 80% and Hawkinson playing at 80%? Keep in mind, Hawkinson is probably getting doubled the whole time. And if he's hobbled, how is that going to affect your team? I mean, this is a tricky game for Detroit. You know, again, you're not looking for them to win 6, 7, 8, 9 games unless you're crazy. But you look at the next 4. We previewed it, what, Tuesday, Jeff?
Yeah.
We went over the next 4. Away to Minnesota, home to Cincinnati, away to Los Angeles, home to Philly. Let's start with Minnesota, narrative-wise. Minnesota are 1-3. Zimmer cannot afford to fall to 1-4. Playing that good they've played such good football their first 4 games. It's actually impressive. Kirk Cousins playing some of the best football of his life. They lost to the Cleveland Browns. They've lost to the Seahawks. They lost to some good football teams. Overtime week 1 against against Cincinnati. So if you're Zimmer and the Vikings and you're just from a Vikings fan perspective, it's like, we can't lose this game. We need to beat Detroit at home. We can't lose at home. To Detroit, our season's over. And then you look at the next game, Cincinnati. If they lose this weekend, oh, well, here comes the narrative. We're 3-2. We're going away to Detroit. They're 0-5. They're trying to get their first win. If we don't win this game, we're in trouble. We're 3-3, and our playoff hopes are really, they're done. We're in the AFC. It's going to be difficult for us to make the playoffs if we're 3-3. That puts pressure on the Bengals and Zach Taylor. And let's say they win that game. Well, then the 0-6 Lions travel to Los Angeles in a revenge game against Matthew Stafford and the Rams. And that's a tricky game for the Rams. This team has not won a game yet. All the pressure's on Stafford. They're going to come out guns blazing trying to win this game. They really want to get back at him. Let's say that's the narrative. They're trying to get their first win under Dan Campbell.
Yep.
These are tricky games coming up, not only for Detroit, but the teams they're playing. Depending how they do over the coming weeks, the narrative is going to be, we can't afford to be that team that loses to the Detroit Lions. The next 4 teams, Philly, not so much. Their season's pretty much done. I'm not sold on their team. Can Jalen Hurts be a serviceable quarterback? Maybe. A franchise quarterback? I don't think so. But we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But you see how tricky it gets the more we go on into this Lions season? The more they go on without winning a game, the tougher it gets for the teams they play. Because you know, for sure, Dan Campbell, if he can do anything, it's get that team riled up and committed and ready to fight. Because they want their first win. He wants their first win. Jared Goff has never won a football game without Sean McVay as his head coach. You think he doesn't want to win a football game? These are tricky games upcoming for not just the Lions, but for the Bengals, the Vikings, the Rams, and even the Philadelphia Eagles. What team is going to look at their schedule and say, we can't lose to Detroit? That's going to mess up our season, and they lose to them. That's kind of where my mind's going over these next 4. Who's going to be that one team maybe that loses to the Detroit Lions? Do they start 0-8? Maybe. That's a possibility. But who gives them that first win of the next 4? And I'm not sure. Narrative, which team is going to fold under that pressure? We'll have to wait and see.
I think it's I want to say the Eagles. I don't know why. I just have a really strong feeling we win at home against the Eagles. But considering the injuries, Hockenson, Swift, Penei Sewell, wouldn't worry about those guys. Swift has been sitting out already in practice every single week due to that groin injury, so that's nothing new. He'll probably most likely be playing come Sunday. But yeah, Penei Sewell, he had that ankle injury. It's going to be bothering him. If he does start at left tackle on Sunday, it's going to be a rough night for him. He's already got the banged-up ankle, and he's got no Frank Ragnow, no Taylor Decker. It's going to be a broken-down offensive line. But, the real injuries are to Frank Ragnow and Romeo Okwara. Romeo Okwara has generated about 70% of all of our pass rush for the whole year, and he's out now. So that's a big impact player, especially on the defensive side of the ball. If you want any pass rush at all, you're going to Romeo Okwara. You got Trey Flowers. You got your rookie D tackles. He's been the only one really getting after the quarterback consistently. So that's a tough loss. And then Frank, obviously, we know how big of a loss it is for a quarterback to lose his center, especially if he's a top 3 center in the NFL. So it is. These are tough injuries, and I didn't really have him favored to win against the Vikings. I thought, if you're healthy, you have a chance, of course, but listen, the Vikings have been playing good football, and even though they're 1-3, they're much better than their record tells. I think we all mutually agree to that. Zimmer's not going to want to go down 1-4 against a team who hasn't won a game yet, or 1-5 to a team who hasn't won a game yet. So I just don't see it happening. So, and that's really the real conversation is it's a bigger game for Zimmer. in this situation. So if you want to
Pressure's
see
on Minnesota.
Yeah, of course.
8.5-point favorites at home, a winless team coming. It's the Lions.
And they just lost to the Browns by a one-score game, and they could have won that game as well.
And they barely lost to the Seahawks, barely lost to the Bengals. I mean, this is a good football team. We complain. I don't want to say complain. We can all acknowledge that the Lions secondary is really beaten up. And even when healthy, it was already brutal. So now you have a ton of inexperienced secondary players. Who's going to guard Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson?
I don't even know who's guarding Jefferson, to be honest.
Who?
A Warrior's going to have to pick one.
And you have to get a pass rush on Minnesota if you want to even bother them. How do you get a pass rush? Well, Okuda's out. So now you have to send the blitz. What happens when you send the blitz? Well, you're leaving your guys out.
Yeah, on an island.
Good luck. 8.5 points, if you wanted to take a bet on the weekend, this might be a good bet for you. Take the Vikings with the points instead of the money line. But, we'll talk about it more tomorrow. It's a tricky game for Detroit. They just lost their best edge rusher. Their secondary's depleted. I mean, it's not looking good right now. It's not looking good, and you're going against, again, a desperate Minnesota team. You think the Lions are desperate? Minnesota's not ready for a 1-4 start. Their season is done if they start 1-4, especially in the NFC. They need to win 10 games this year. They can't start 1-4 and somehow finish 10-7. It's not going to work like that. They're not going to go 9-3 the remainder of the year. They still have the Packers twice. They still got the Lions on the road. They still got the Bears on the road. There's a lot of tough games still.
And you're talking about Justin Jefferson. We talk about Dalvin Cook, who last week was held to 65 yards, and
coming off an injury, to be fair.
I know, but I'm just that was my point I was getting to. Is he's held to 65 yards his first game from injury, now second game back from injury. You're hoping he bounces back, and of course, it's against a team who cannot stop the run. So we'll find out, but I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Yeah,
don't think
Kennedy,
it's gonna be pretty.
Your thoughts on the injuries? I mean, what's going on right now?
Okay.
Ever since the Lions fired their strength and conditioning coach.
I was going to ask you about that.
Everything is gone. I don't know if it's karma. I don't know if it's just really bad luck. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if they're feeding them canned potatoes. I don't know.
Well, Corey says they feed them well
people
over
just
there.
can't stop getting hurt. They can't stop getting hurt. What's going on?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, is how much of this is a behind-the-scenes issue? Are they not stretching right? I don't know what's happening. I feel like I haven't heard of this many injuries. I mean, obviously they're always happening. Joik has said a million times, every game is like getting in a car accident. I understand the game of football is very
Well, it seems to me
dangerous.
that the Lions are driving a semi off the freeway,
yeah,
and the other teams are just hitting a stop
ridiculous.
sign.
I don't know. I don't have the answers. I took a few athletic training classes in college, but I don't have the answers. All I know how to do is tape an ankle. So hit me up. If someone has an ankle injury.
Wasn't there soft tissue injuries? Wasn't there soft tissue injuries before they fired the trainer too? So it was injuries a little before they fired him. Now we have even more injuries. So it's you can't just find it.
Yeah, well, I don't know what exactly it is. I don't know if it's karma. I don't know if it's a consequence
cursed?
of what was done before.
I
don't know if it's bad luck. I mean, it's the NFL. You can get hurt on any play, and unfortunately for the Lions right now, they just can't stop losing their players. And these are serious injuries. These aren't he broke his arm, he'll be back in 6 weeks, it's fine. I'd rather have a broken arm than a torn Achilles.
Right.
They have two. Yeah, two torn Achilles.
Two torn Achilles now. And one of them coming at the secondary position. Okuda was already slow. Now what are you getting?
Right. And then
Carroll coming back, is he going to come back and dominate and be a good edge rusher? This is difficult. This is super difficult. I don't like it.
Then you got guys who starts his first game, tears his quad. What are the? It's what are the chances?
I don't understand what's happening in Adham Park. All I know is that these players can't stop getting hurt. I don't know the reason why. I will admit it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think they even know what the hell's going on. But this is really bad. It was all fun and games at the start of the year. And I said, narrative-wise, it would be a heck of a story if the Lions went 0-17. Just story-wise. Not that we're rooting for that, but just narrative-wise. Think about it. Holy crap. A team that has gone 0-16 in the inaugural 17-game schedule year didn't win a game. And now we're 4 games in. They're decimated by injuries. They have Mr. Fumble himself at quarterback.
Mr. Fumble.
I mean, this could get really bad.
Yeah.
This could get really, really bad. I just previewed the next 4 games for you. You honestly tell me you're confident about one of them. Be honest with me, Detroit.
Coming into the season, I was so confident about this Eagles game. I was like, this is the game I'm going to. It's a lock. And now I'm I don't think I know that we're going to beat the Eagles on Halloween.
That would be the only team I would. If you had to pick, Jeff,
if you had to,
your life's on the line. You pick a team you're beating. I'm saying the Eagles in the next 4 games. I don't know. I don't want to say the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow.
I would say in those 4 games, I would bet my life on the Lions beating themselves, than beating one of those other teams. To be honest, I don't know. This is getting really bad. I don't like this. Like, this isn't what you wanted going into the year. You wanted Dan Campbell to come in. Mm-hmm. He changed the culture in the building, yes, a little bit, but. To be honest,
bit.
no,
he changed the culture.
It changed it in a good way. It's much better than where it was with Patricia. But you have to remember, under Patricia, it was like beyond the floor. It was way below.
Oh yeah,
it was awful. So he did bring energy back. He did bring positivity. Good, but how long does that last if you're going to actually lose 16, 17 games this year? And then if you don't hit in the offseason and you don't develop your players enough by next year, you can't afford to lose 12, 13 games next year either. You turn into Hugh Jackson. Mm-hmm. I don't like this. This is not what I envisioned for Dan Campbell. You guys can call me harsh and a critic all you want, but this is not looking good. This is not a good scenario for him to be in. You can push culture, playing hard, fighting. That's great, but you got to win sometime, sooner than later. You don't want to walk in 0-10, 0-11, and people are clowning you. And like this is, and again, we can all understand and respect the injury aspect of it and what's going on. This team is in a rebuild, but even when you're in a rebuild. Just go look at teams in the past. They're still able to win 4 or 5 games. Are the Lions able to win 4 or 5 this year? I hope so. That would at least be respectable. You don't want to win 1, 2, maybe even 0 games. It's awful. I don't want to envision that. It's actually really bad. I don't like it.
I think if they string along 3-4 wins, it's going to be towards the back end of the season. I believe they can get one against the Eagles, but even then, the other 3 or 2 wins they're getting is.
I think the Steelers are a lock. I think they beat the Steelers. I think they beat the Bears on Thanksgiving. Those are the 2 games I think are locks this year.
Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, no, Dan Campbell's not losing Thanksgiving. His mantra, his attitude is that culture mindset. He can't afford to send Detroit home losers on Thanksgiving Day. It's not going to happen.
I've spent lots of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's my mega bet of the year. They win on Thanksgiving.
They're getting that dub.
All right, you guys. Well, while we're on the topic of the Lions-Vikings game, you guys know the party doesn't end at the pregame. You got to join us for the postgame with Stick at the Brass Rail downtown. Remember, it starts at every Lions game at the 2-minute warning. Come for the watch party. There will be DJs, drinks, and a Woodward VIP section with food and more. So make sure you stop by after every Lions home game at the Brass Rail, Detroit. All right, now that I'm done with that, you guys, we need to hear about where we get our hair done around here. I get my eyebrows done here.
Listen,
Lady Jane's.
Anybody in the chat, you got some rough-looking hair right now. Take your butt up to Lady Jane's because they got comfy chairs you get to sit at the watch the beautiful television. They got all kinds of sports on and talk to one of their lovely women. And they cut your hair, take care of you. They're open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. You walk in anytime because it's wicked awesome.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network. We had Pistons and Red Wings last night. How awesome was that? There's a lot of good going on here on our local teams, so let's get into that. The Pistons won 115 to 105, and this was even without Cade and Killian. So, Jeff, you're my Pistons guy. What are your thoughts on the team after last night?
Yeah, they shot the 3-ball well, especially in the first quarter. I think out of their 12 3-pointers, they had 7 of them in the first quarter. I think they scored like 40, so that's nice to see. You got a strong bench, number one. Corey Joseph, Josh Jackson, they look great, and that's a positive about a young team when your entirety of your team can go out and get a bucket. It's not like you're relying heavily on your starting lineup. I think the Pistons got like 9 deep and guys who can probably start for them because there's not really. You got Cade who's going to start, Sadiq who's going to start. Jeremy Grant obviously is going to start, but there's other guys. I mean, you can exchange a lot of these guys up, but what I've noticed last game is their defense: 9 steals, 9 blocks compared to the Spurs 3-3. Yes, that's right, Stick. They played lockdown defense, especially, and it starts with, and they didn't even have their leader in Cade Cunningham. It just started with the tempo. Isaiah Stewart started at center for him, played absolutely amazing. He was going up against 7-footers at 6'9". He was taking them to the house. The Pistons out-rebounded the San Antonio Spurs. It is only preseason, but without Cade Cunningham, the Pistons were able to get a dub against a Spurs team who was 1-0 coming into this game. They've already played preseason, and they looked great. So you know what? I can't wait for this season, man, and to get this started.
I'm still very confident this is a 25-plus win team.
Yeah,
they're hitting that over. If you don't like betting in general, go sign up. Just go sign up for MyBookie. All right, go figure it out and bet on the Pistons over. It's a free bet. There's no chance they're going 25 and 57.
Yeah, no,
it's not gonna happen.
That would
They're
be
winning 30 to 34 games.
That would be Dwayne Casey's third consecutive season winning 20 games.
It's not going to happen.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
It's not going to happen. I want to talk about the Wings.
Let's do it.
I got to say, like last night, it was a tough start for them. Third period, they came out, played really well. Defense, their defensive lines, they were okay. There were mistakes, but it's preseason. It's fine. I was a little disappointed. Lucas Raymond only one shot on goal. He found it tough to get space on the ice.
Considering
last
he's
night.
leading the team in points thus far in the preseason.
Yeah. I think there's positives to take away both from the Pistons and the Wings. I think all you can really do on what's today, Thursday, coming off 2 preseason games is, hey, you know what? Let's hope that Raymond makes the roster. If he makes the opening day team, that would be. I hope so.
I hope so.
And I think Blashill will make that decision. Yeah. I mean, he's a
stud. Man.
He was re-signed. He got a new contract. Yzerman basically told him the plan, and the plan is we've got a lot of young guys. Let's play them. Let's see how they develop. And I think in 2-3 years we can be fighting for a Stanley Cup. And if that's the case, that's great. But I really think Raymond is one of those guys that just needs to be on the opening day team. He does.
Yeah,
but I'm on the
absolutely.
4th, 3rd line. I don't care. But I'm on any line you want. Just know you're getting production out of him. And what do the Detroit Red Wings need more than anything this season is they need multiple 20 to 25-plus goal scorers. They didn't have many last year. We know Verana's going to be good. Bobby Ryan probably will be good consistent. But you need a 3rd, 4th, 5th guy getting those 20-plus goals. And I think Raymond, year one, could hit 30 goals. That would be my bold prediction. I think if he plays a full 82 games, I think he's a 30-goal goal-getter. Honestly, yeah. I think he's that good. I think his ceiling is extremely high. And guys, this is such a great time. If you're just a Detroit sports fan in general, but specifically for these two teams, the Pistons and the Wings. And my goodness, the Wings, they are loaded with young talent. Put it out. Put the product on the ice and let people see it. And look, Yzerman's already got the backing of the fan base, the organization. He's got the backing. He's not going anywhere. Blashill, is he the guy to take this team to the next step? We'll have to wait and see. Are they going to go to the next level with Jeff Blashill? I don't know. But ideally, these young players really thrive and develop. And that's really what I'm looking for the most this season. They're going to win some games. They're going to be in some close games with some good teams. But more importantly, I want to see the young kids shine. I want to see Verana play well. I want to see Larkin have just take that next step, man. You were really good early on. You're kind of been average to good since. When are you going to put your foot down as the captain of this team and lead by example by saying, I'm going to be a 70, 80-point guy this year. I'm going to make sure that whatever is around me, I'm going to make sure we're skating back, we're playing good defense in our zone, and when we attack, we're efficient, we're getting goals, we're scoring points, whether it's from our defensemen, my forwards, doesn't matter. I, as a captain, I'm going to lead my line and this team by example. And I think you really need that from Dylan Larkin this year.
I agree. And you mentioned that you need a guy who can get you 30 goals. I mean, it sucks because Verana's going to miss a couple months. He's out 4 months, I believe, with some sort of injury. So you're missing your guy who has the potential to be that 30-goal-per-year scorer. Now, but Lucas Raymond, to your point, man, he's special. The last game, he only shot one time, but besides then, he's stuck off the paper to me every single game. Larkin, I'm hoping, could take that next step. Like you said, he looked good early in the preseason, kind of slowed down towards the end. But nonetheless, as long as we got Bobby Ryan on this team, aside from the young guys, I love Bobby Ryan personally, his story, what he brings to this Red Wings team. I mean, he's got 2 goals, 2 assists in 4 games for the Red Wings.
He plays hard, man. He's one of those third, fourth liners that you just need on your team. All right, you need those guys that get you the scrappy goals, because I promise you, Lucas Raymond isn't going to be sexy and flashy and scoring a ton of goals every night. And there's going to be nights where the ice is just really smaller. It's just smaller than it usually is. It feels smaller. It's tighter window. You're not getting off the shots like you usually get them. Like you need the guys that can just get you ugly goals. And I feel like that's a really lost art. And only really the good teams in this league have those guys, because, again, there's going to be nights where you're just off. You're off. Your slap shot's not working. You're free in the zone, and you throw off your wristers, but goalie's seeing everything. Everything's coming his way. It just takes a deflection. It takes somebody standing in front of the goalie, getting physical. It takes somebody scoring an unusual, not casual goal. I think Bobby Ryan gives you that, and if there's a way where him and Raymond can play on this team opening day, I think that's a good thing for the Detroit Red Wings.
And I want to bring this up too. To this point, obviously the Wings traded Richard Panik to the New York Islanders for Nick Leddy, and Nick Leddy, he has 4 assists so far. He's been playing great, and that was a great pickup. You add more defensemen, and you got a guy who is your leading assistman. You got Mo Sider, obviously, which a lot of people I'm high on. I like Mo Sider, what I've seen out of him this preseason. But you got to get a veteran, and Nick Leddy's that guy, man. He's been playing well this preseason, and I'm just so excited. To your point, this year for the Wings should be slowly taking that next step. I think they're maybe a little ahead of the Pistons in terms of just who they have on their roster, but I'm not going to sit here and say the Wings will have a Piston season this year, but they should do a little better than that. I think they'll play close with a lot of good teams, surprise a lot of people, beat some good teams. Something the Pistons I think are slowly starting to get to. But man, any Red Wings fan should be excited just from this preseason. They looked so good at the early of the preseason. They won the first couple of their games, and they kind of slowed down towards the end. But it should get you excited for this upcoming season, man. Should be for Blashill to see what he can do.
I'm all for it. Kennedy.
Yeah.
Your take and your future outlook for the Wings and the Pistons this year. Which team is more likely to, I would say, win more games in an 82-game schedule, and which team is just not ready yet to just win a substantial amount of games?
I don't know. It honestly might be kind of like, for me, it's kind of hard to say, because I like Doug's comment. I'm kind of in the same boat as him. As excited as I am to have all these young teams, he says, I'm not impressed with the young talent for the Wings. They have skills, but I've never seen them play angry. And that's my favorite thing about hockey, is it is an aggressive, angry sport. And that is like one thing that I do believe the Red Wings have been missing for a few years, is that fire, because that's like that's my favorite thing about hockey. When D-Mac played, he was that angry player. He would get in fights. Like, not that matters. Fighting does not equate to good hockey. Like, that's what the ECHL is for. They're the scrappy guys that just fight, and it's entertaining, right? But like, if
they're kids, they need time to develop. Pavel Datsyuk wasn't angry.
No, you had to develop that mindset.
Well, but he had the mindset, but he wasn't an angry player, right?
I just never feel like they don't have that aggression, and especially as with Larkin as captain, I don't think he's got really
he's
that
not the
either.
best example.
And it's just, I don't know. It's something's not there. There's a piece that's missing.
A new generation.
Yeah.
Your captains are no longer not only the veterans, the leaders, but they're just probably your best player right now. And Jack Eichel's the captain, Connor McDavid. Are they angry? Are they the guys that are really going to drive and motivate your team? No, but
they may play angry,
that's
though.
today's NHL.
You don't got to be angry. Much. You just got to. They may play angry.
The days of Steve Yzerman, Ryan Getzlav, these even Steven Stamkos, Alex Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby. Not only your best players, but they were gritty, fighting players. Like, those days are, at least from what I've seen, those days are really short. They're gone. I think they're gone now, and you really...
That makes me want to cry.
It's difficult. It's difficult to see. I mean, you can say they need to play more aggressive. They need to be more angry, sure. But they're kids. They need time to develop that. It's very rare skill position kids walk in and like, hey, man, Darren McCarty, this is for you. Like, it doesn't work like that.
I would love it, though.
They need to win games. They need to see how to lose games and win games over time. And get bounced in the first round of the playoffs and have that pain. That's how you develop that anger. It's not just it's not something you develop with training. It's something through experience that you develop. So
Yeah.
I mean, these are kids, so they need experience. So
Yeah.
it'll take time.
But yeah, overall, I'm excited that the Blashills, I'm saying plural because I know Miss Blashill has got a little bit of say. Everyone's been saying on Twitter that the young guys from Grand Rapids are the ones that she's kind of keeping an eye on and that she likes. So I'm glad he's open to the Bobby Ryans, Lucas Raymonds. I think it'll be awesome if both of them make the roster. But yeah, and then when it comes to the Pistons, you know, I've said it a million times, I'm pumped about the young guys. I think it's great that without Cade and without Killian last night, we still walked away with, I know it's a preseason dub, but a dub nonetheless. They looked good. You can tell, you know, it's not the rest of the roster isn't bleak. You know, we've got good people everywhere, which is great. But we've got to move on. We're going to preview Thursday Night Football for you guys coming up next, so stick around for that. But before we go, Underdog Fantasy, please.
Yep, let's talk about Underdog Fantasy, guys. The NFL season is underway, but you can still draft a new fantasy football team each week using Underdog Fantasy to win cash prizes. Their slick mobile app and user-friendly website. You can join a league and draft a team within minutes. Plus, the folks at Underdog are going to give you $10 as a bonus once you make your first deposit using code WSN. That should make it a lot easier. You can be more creative on how you bet. And, of course, my favorite part is they're available in the both Apple and Android store. I mean, guys, it's a slick app, super user-friendly, easy to understand. Highly recommend you download it today. And, of course, use code WSN. They'll give you a free $10 on your first deposit.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back, everyone. We've got Thursday Night Football tonight. The Rams are taking on the Seahawks. The Rams are currently sitting at 3-1, and the Seahawks are 2-2. The Rams are a 2.5-point favorite. Adam, do you like that? Yes or no?
Like that. I don't at all. They just lost their first game. They're going away to Seattle. Seattle has won their last 9 Thursday Night Football games. This is... This is dangerous. I'm surprised Seattle, like if I'm a Seattle person, I'm betting on Seattle. Like I get them at 2.5 points and I get them at the money line plus 120. That, I mean, that's a tough bet. It's a tough bet, but let's forget the betting side of it. You've got the Rams and the Seahawks tonight, NFC West matchup, huge division implications. One of these teams could fall to 0-2 in the division, and that would be the Los Angeles Rams. That would not be a good start. It's going to be very difficult to win your division when you start 0-2. You're going to have to win the rest of the 4, which is going to be difficult. You still have road games. You have road games in Arizona, road games in San Francisco. This is about as must-win as it gets for the Rams, at least confidence-wise. We talked about confidence after the Rams beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like that was huge for their locker room. Like they traded 2 first-round picks. They gave up Jared Goff. All that for Matthew Stafford. And they walk in and they beat the defending champs. That's a big deal. But they took a step back last week against Arizona. You don't want to have back-to-back weeks taking a step back. I've got to say, if I have to pick a winner in this game, I am going to go with the Rams, although I think the Seahawks cover. This is going to be a really close game. This is going to be a 27-26 ball game. That's my score prediction. I mean, Russell Wilson isn't turning the ball over, guys. You're not getting extra possessions if you're Los Angeles.
He hasn't yet.
And you can't turn the ball over. And Stafford turned the ball over and didn't look great against Arizona. So he's got to come out much better and much more prepared. Sean McVay as well for what Seattle may present them. Because the Cardinals kind of gave you a blueprint on how you could stop the Rams. Maybe it was 50% the Cardinals' scheme, 50% failed execution by the Rams.
And the talent.
However you want to put it.
Yeah.
You got to improve from last week. This is a big week. This is a huge game. I mean, usually you don't get huge Thursday night football games this early in the year. Los Angeles at Seattle, I'm so ready for it. I'm excited.
and you bringing up the stats of Russell Wilson or the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday night, well, I have a stat, Sean McVay, after taking a loss, out of the 20 times, he's won 15 after that. So he bounces back quickly after losses, and I think he'll do so tonight. I think they beat the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, they're at home, and they got that going for them. But if you want to look at it like this, the Seahawks are giving up the most yards in football, number one, and they're allowing around 4.5 yards per carry. So Matthew Stafford's going to be able to throw the ball all over him. And if he wants to, with Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel can run the ball. So it really depends on what the Seattle defense can do. Obviously, you got Aaron Donald. Can the Seattle Seahawks' offensive line protect Russell? There's all kinds of questions. But the number one thing I'm really looking at is what is Matthew Stafford going to do against the Seattle Seahawks' defense and vice versa? Yes, Russell Wilson hasn't thrown an interception yet, but you don't know you don't know how long that streak's going to last, and you got a defense coming into your home that hasn't been playing well. They're looking to make a staple. They haven't won in the division. They just lost to the Arizona Cardinals, so they're looking to get their first divisional win. But yeah, like I said, man, Sean McVay, after losing, he usually bounces back, and I don't think they fall to 3-2. And it's hard for me to say the Seattle Seahawks fall to 2-3, but at the same time, I think this is just a game for the Rams to essentially lose, unless Russell has a Russell game, which he can. He can lead this team to a win, but I got the Rams coming out with a victory. I think it'll be close, though. We'll say 27-24. I'll put them like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go by the spread, they have it at 2.5. Let's say 31-28 makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I can see that happening. I can see 31-30. I mean, both teams are explosive. I'm very curious to see how the Rams come out and play tonight.
Yeah.
I think the Rams have more to lose tonight than the Seahawks. The Seahawks can
agree.
bounce back from this, and they'll be just fine. They'll fall to 2-3. But again, confidence, guys. You traded 2 first-round picks and your quarterback for Matthew Stafford. You didn't pay and give up all that for him to lose at home against the Cardinals, and then the following week away at Seattle. That is not what you traded what you traded for to get. That's not what you did. So that's the reality of the Rams situations. And I really think this is a tricky game. Man, just looking at this, it's going to be a really close game. It's going to be a really close game. I think what the Rams need more than anything is a quick start. If they can come out to a quick start, 7-10 points in the first quarter, that would be ideal. They'd get comfortable. Everybody can get involved. They can be more aggressive in how they want to run the ball. They weren't able to do it against Arizona at all. Cooper Kupp, he got 13 targets last week, but it was a forced 13 targets. Yeah. It was very difficult for the Rams. It's a short week for both teams. This is going to be an interesting game. I mean, I'm calling a huge money bet on the over. I think both teams aren't going to be prepared defensively, and I think both offenses have their way, and it's just a matter of maybe who has the ball last. I think it's going to be that close of a game.
I like it.
All right, let's shift to one more thing before we head out of here regarding the Thursday night game. Implications. Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson now, we've seen him early on, Legion of Boom, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win. Should have been 2, but regardless, now we're looking at Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Does Russell Wilson have the pieces around him or the coaching staff? Pick one of the two. Are you taking the talent and the roster around him, or are you taking the coaching staff moving forward? Is it enough for Russell Wilson to get this team back to where they were early on in his career? Or that's it, they paid him. Yes, they have dynamic wide receivers, but Chris Carson, unpredictable. The defense is not that great. It's not even close to what it used to be. What are you doing here? Is this a coaching issue, a talent issue? What's going on here?
Well, I think it's more so. I hate saying talent issue because they have talented players, but in terms of coaching, Pete Carroll, Shane Waldron, they just hired a new offensive coordinator. I believe it was the passing game coordinator of the Rams. I believe they hired him. They brought him to Seattle to try and help out Russell Wilson. And thus far, man, he's been playing great. He has 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So I wouldn't say it's the coaching. More so the talent, because they have wide receivers. They kind of have pass protection for Russell Wilson. Defense is a little questionable. Besides Jamal Williams and Bobby Wagner, they still have a lot of pieces to fill around those guys, and they should be way better, at least on paper. But it's a tough call. I want to say I guess talent, but they have enough talent. So it's like, do you look at coaching, but then you're saying Pete Carroll is not the right coach right now? What are you saying? Because offensively they look good. Shane Waldron's got him in a good position, but
what I mean by that
they got Chris Carson.
Now the time to move on from Pete Carroll. Not that he lost his job, not that he's past it, but we got what we got from Pete Carroll. He could be a Hall of Fame head coach in the NFL.
Of course, yep.
Moving forward, I think that's likely to happen. A great coaching career. But is it time to move on and try something new with Russell Wilson?
Possibly.
You have DK Metcalf. You have Tyler Lockett. You have good pieces. It's a nice core. You got to work on the defense, yes, but still. Is it time to move on from Pete Carroll? And again, not that it's entirely his fault, but do you go for the young, offensive-minded guy? Do you pair Russell Wilson with a Kyle Shanahan, a Sean McVay-esque coach? Because right now you're in a division where you've got the 70-year-old coach and you've got 3 young minds.
Yep.
And again, Seattle weren't awful last year. They 12, 11-win team last year.
Mm-hmm.
They won the division. So
Russell was the MVP
nothing,
early on.
Yeah, early season MVP. They fell off a little bit,
Yeah.
and he fell off with his play. But still, I mean, is this a team that can take the next step and go to an NFC championship, go to a Super Bowl? I don't think they can right now.
Me either, yeah.
I don't think so. And if I don't believe that, and the GM doesn't believe that, or the front office doesn't believe it, or the owner, and everyone's in agreement, and even the coaching staff, hey, there's only so much we can do, well then, do we make the decision to move on from Pete Carroll? And if you do, I don't see a problem in that, because whoever walks in with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Russell Wilson. My goodness, that is appealing.
Boy.
People
Yeah,
will
escalated
clamor for
quick.
that job. It's just your choice whether or not to make that decision. I think it's worth a conversation. What do you think?
I think after this season, Pete Carroll, it's better to let Pete Carroll go. How long he's been with the Seattle Seahawks, let him finish out the season. And if they have an unsuccessful season, hopefully Pete Carroll, you can bring up the question to him, okay, you're 70 years old. Maybe your coaching is declining. Your players are maybe getting sick of hearing the same message over and over again, whatever the case may be. You changed offensive coordinators. It didn't help out a whole lot besides Russell Wilson's play. I think after this year, hopefully Pete Carroll can just walk away from the game and allow the Seattle Seahawks to get the next helm, the next head coach. But you don't want to fire Pete Carroll. I think that would have to be if Pete Carroll's refusing to leave at 70 years old and wants to keep coaching. Then yes, of course, you fire Pete Carroll. But maybe he'll walk away after the season. He's 70 years old, turning 71 this year. We'll see. You never know. You could have a new coach
I think it's time to have the conversation with Pete Carroll. Not because he's some awful coach. He just won the division last year. Okay? But do you want to take the next step? And that could backfire. We don't know. But I really think a conversation needs to be had of, hey, did we get everything we could out of Pete Carroll? I think they did. I think it was a great success. It worked out beautifully. They won a Super Bowl. They were on the cusp of winning a second. Lots of great things. They've won multiple divisions since then. He's a Hall of Fame coach. But do you move on and bring in the young, up-and-coming, offensive-minded guy, defensive-minded guy, a Brandon Staley, let's say, or maybe a Kyle Shanahan-esque type coach? Mm-hmm. Who that guy is, I can find out. Let me do my research, and I'll give you an answer in a few days. But right now, I really think they got to consider it, especially if they're going to lose tonight and maybe finish 3rd or 4th in the division.
Yes.
I don't see how he doesn't just walk away and they try something new.
Especially if they're seeing what Brandon Staley's done to the Chargers in the AFC West. They got rid of Anthony Lynn.
I was roasted for roasting Anthony Lynn before he was ever an OC for Detroit. Roasting him for the horrible job he did in Los Angeles last year. Yes, they didn't have Austin Eckler. Yes, Darwin James was out. But that was a top 10 defense in talent, in terms of talent. Bosa was available. Mm-hmm. You had Justin Herbert lighting up the league. And you were losing game after game after game after game, and you didn't show improvement. Your offense improved because of Justin Herbert, not because of you, my friend. And what does Brandon Staley do? He walks in. Herbert's playing the best ball of his life, and the defense is a top 10 defense. What do you know? What a coincidence. Yeah, we can't have expectations locally of a guy walking in and improving the team, regardless. We got to hit the break, don't we?
We do. When we come back, we're going to hit on the Jalen Smith trade. Signing.
Yeah, free agent signing.
Thank you. That's coming up next. I know Jeff's been hinting at it, so stick around for that. But before we go, I need to tell you that Woodward Sports Friday Night Clash is here. Every Friday, we broadcast the best games in Metro Detroit on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So make sure you join Woodward Sports and The Prep, as well as our friends over at Planet Fitness for Friday Night Clash this Friday at 9 p.m. This week's matchup is number 8, Romeo versus number 7, Sterling Heights Stevenson. And then, guys, remember, we have that halftime kick for $10,000. So make sure you're following at Woodward Sports to enter for that. You guys, we love highlighting the best student sections and best high school football in the game. All right, all that and more, Jalen Smith, when we come back.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everyone. Like I said, another veteran is joining Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Cowboys linebacker Jalen Smith was released Tuesday as what Adam's favorite person, Mike McCarthy, is calling a big picture move. The Cowboys released him after 4 games, even though he started every single game from 2018 to 2020 with 254 solo tackles and then went to the Pro Bowl in 2019. All of that being said, Jeff, do you think the Lions should have made a move on Jalen Smith?
In my opinion, if you're Brad Holmes, to reach out to Jalen Smith, you give him a phone call or his agent a phone call. But more importantly, what does Jalen Smith want to do? And in his mind, it's not join the Detroit Lions. And that's not an insult to my favorite team. It's more importantly what Jalen Smith wants in his career. He was a part of a Dallas Cowboys team. He overcame that knee injury. He's been pretty healthy ever since then. Hasn't really missed games. And he's played, pretty good football. He struggled in coverage. Something that, you have seen on film the last couple of years. But overall, Jalen Smith could help fill in those linebacker holes. And like the Green Bay Packers, they needed some linebackers. Jalen Smith helps them out immediately. But yeah, there was no situation where Jalen Smith is ever going to consider, because he's already the Cowboys are paying him still. He's still making money. So if you're getting paid already by your former team, you're joining a contender. I mean, we talked about the Chargers. You can talk about any team, the Chiefs. You throw in anything, any team up in that conversation. Didn't expect it to be the Packers, but nonetheless, I'm not surprised. It sucks they're in the NFC North now. Jared Goff's going to have to deal with Jalen Smith, but nonetheless, I think the Lions, I don't know if they reached out to Jalen or what. If they did, kudos to them. If they didn't, it's whatever. Jalen Smith probably wasn't coming to Detroit regardless, but you know what? It is what it is. And I would like this signing over anything close to a Stephon Gilmore trade. And I don't know how you feel about it, Adam, but that's just my opinion.
All right, let's look at what Mike McCarthy said. Big picture move, right? Well, long term, you don't want to have to pay a linebacker that kind of money, although they're going to eat that cap hit a little bit. Regardless, Jalen Smith, we don't know enough about what he was like in the locker room, okay? I don't think he would have been a fit in Detroit, and I don't think, to be honest, he was ever considering going to a bad team.
No.
Now, I'm yet to get the details on his signing. Is it a one-year deal? Is it a multi-year deal? If it is a one-year deal, well, I expect him to play for Green Bay, get his act together, show out, play well, and then try to sign for a big, a good move or a good contract to maybe an average team, a good team, or maybe even an awful team. But why would he want to come to Detroit? He is allowed to go sign for basically league minimum wherever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still getting paid his money from Dallas. He's getting his money, and he can go play and have a proven year. Why would he go to a bad team? The Lions are not only in a complete rebuild, they are decimated with injuries. Jalen Smith could come here and dominate as a linebacker. It doesn't matter. There's 10 other players that are playing awful on the field with him. It doesn't matter. He's not going to compensate for all of that. So let's chill on the Jalen Smith. It's a one-year deal?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. So Jalen Smith right now is playing for his next contract.
Right.
And he's going to Green Bay. It's a great situation. It's a team that's going to be contending in the NFC. It's a team that's going to win the NFC North. And it's a great fit, I think. I think he's going to fit in very well with that locker room, the culture. I think he's going to walk in. Aaron Rodgers is going to put his arm around his shoulder. Matt LaFleur, very good head coach. Third year in the league now. 29-7 as a head coach. Very, very experienced, capable of winning. He'll garner the respect of a Jalen Smith. If Jalen Smith doesn't respect Mike McCarthy, well, I don't blame him. But that's not the point here. The Cowboys moved off of him. It's a great move for him personally. I really like the move. Going to Green Bay, he'll be in a winning situation. He'll be able to prove himself this entire year, and then he'll get ideally a good contract offer at the end of the year, I think it's the right move. You don't sign yourself to a 1-year deal, a prove-it year, basically, of, hey, I got to get my act together, I got to change my character, and I got to dominate on the field if I want to get paid the money I want.
Yep.
And in order to do all that, you need to go put yourself on a good football team that's contending. That way you can look good. That way a GM somewhere in the league can look and say, okay, if I get my act together, if I get my head coach right, my defense right, my quarterback, everything is working,
right,
and I plug in a Jalen Smith, I become much better. Now, that won't be the case for the bad teams. Hey, we get Jalen Smith. Wow, we're just throwing away our salary cap at a guy that, let's be honest, isn't going to win you 10, 12 games by himself. He's a linebacker.
Right.
But he will improve your team significantly on defense. He's a good player. I don't know everything that happened in Dallas, so I don't want to judge the guy or judge Dallas for even getting rid of him. But I think it's a good move. I just think it's a good move. It fits. Micah Parsons is playing very well. You know what? Move on from Jalen Smith. Take the dead cap space now. That's fine. Move on. And I like it. I think it's a good move.
Yeah, you're not alone there. You know what? I give credit to the Dallas Cowboys for actually making the mature decision to say, hey, we got Jabril Cox, hasn't played a game yet, a pretty good linebacker, rookie linebacker who we believe can play right away, contribute right away, and you have him on a rookie contract. They draft him in the third round, whatever the case may be, and now you have a guy in Jalen Smith who was amongst the most top paid linebackers years ago or until now. So it's a great move. It was just them being a little self-aware, understanding, listen, we got Micah Parsons on a first-round contract deal. You got Jabril Cox. Give the young guys more playing time, man. Defense looks good this year. So you trust Dan Quinn. I'm sure they brought it up to Jerry Jones to begin with, so it's going to pay off for him.
All right, very good. Kennedy, your thoughts. Green Bay Packers signing Jalen Smith. Actually, you know what?
I don't care what the Packers do.
Huh?
I don't care about the Packers. I hate them.
I would question your fandom considering you're a Notre Dame and Ohio State chick, but
oh, okay. So you wanted to make sure I don't root for the Packers while I'm at it?
I'm double checking. What do we got next?
We're good there. You guys know Adam loves putting people on bust alert, but we're talking about already done busts. I titled this "We Heart Big Busts and We Cannot Lie," and we're not talking top halves. You guys, who, in your opinion, is the biggest bust in history, the biggest Lions bust in history, and Pistons bust?
I'll go first for Pistons. You could give your Lions
go
one.
for the Pistons.
I mean, the clear one is Darko Milicic, but if you want to make it interesting, I mean...
Okay, outside of Darko, that's the easy one. Let's not do that. Don't give me one.
Darko is just one of those guys that was such a bad
Andre
bust.
Drummond is the biggest bust outside of Darko Milicic and Detroit Pistons history. He is the biggest bust. Maybe even Luke Kennard. Maybe even Stanley Johnson.
I was going to say Stanley's...
It's all bad.
Stanley's pretty bad, man.
But I just have a clear disdain, and I don't like Andre Drummond at all. So I'm going to say Andre Drummond.
Okay. I respect your personal beef. I respect it. All right, give me your Lions one. Let's hear it.
Right now?
Yeah.
Biggest Lions bust of all time.
Yep.
You know, let's just go with the last 10 years. All right?
Okay.
Let's just do the last 10 years. Bryant Westbrook is up there all time. He was in the early 90s. I would say, I would argue between Jeff Okuda and Eric Ebron. Those are my two.
Yeah, those are solid too.
Those are awful. Eric Ebron has played out to be what he is, which is nothing but a scrub. He had one good season, and then that's it. He is worthless. And it doesn't help that Aaron Donald was taken right after him. That's a big factor in it. And then you look at Jeff Okuda. He hasn't played in his first 2 years, often only 10 games of an available 33. He's already a bust. And let's be honest, who went after him? Justin Herbert.
That's the question. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the point. You guys, being a bust isn't just he's not a good player or he didn't live up to expectations. It's not only that. It's an injury history, off the field issues, what happened on players after. That's how Darko's a bust because D Wade and Chris Bosh went after him.
And he was taking.
That's why Darko's a bust. Yeah. No, seriously. And Okuda will be a bust because of the players that were taken after him. And Trevon Diggs, taken 48 picks after, is already reaching the ceiling you expected from Jeff Okuda. It's really frustrating. Now, does he come back and turn out to be a good corner? I hope so. Mm-hmm. God knows the team needs to get at least just a good 3, 4, 5 years out of him. But is he going to be the top shutdown corner in the NFL? Is he going to lead the league in picks? Is he going to be an all-pro corner, 6, 7, 8 Pro Bowls? No. No. He's coming off an Achilles injury. What should I expect?
Yeah.
Do you want me to be delusional and tell you he's coming back better than ever?
He's going to lose a step.
Come on, guys. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Him and Ebron are my two, for sure.
It's not bad. I think a lot of people would agree with you there.
Maybe, that's a good one in the chat. Mike freaking Williams.
Well, I had Mike Williams. I was going to
you?
say it, but that
Yeah.
was 10 years. We were talking about 10 years. He's 2005. We took him 10th overall.
Well, I brought up Bryant Westbrook in 93.
Yeah, Mike Williams was
Mike
bad,
Williams
man.
was pretty bad.
He was like before Kelvin, you know, at the collegiate level, and then you saw what happened when
I'm
he
not bringing
came
up
to the
Charles
Lines.
Rodgers. The guy's dead. I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Charles Rodgers. I had him, but that's just a sad
I'm not
story.
doing it. I'm not doing it.
That's
you know,
sad.
things happen. He broke his collarbone. Whatever. I'm moving on. I didn't want to.
Lions made him give back money.
On that note.
Sorry. Yeah, it's too depressing. Kennedy, get us out of here. It was a great show.
All right, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me and the boys, obviously, but mostly me. Coming up next, we've got Big D Energy. They will be squad deep with Joik Bell, Neil Rule, and D-Mac, and it's Thursday, so that means they will be doing Ballin' with Bell, so stick around to hear and learn from the one, the only Professor Joik Bell. This has been the Morning Woodward Show on Woodward Sports. We will see you same place, same